Mind Gym: Sports Quotes and Stories of Self-Discipline. Written by Vance Avery. Narrated by Sam Slidell. Introduction. I already wrote another book about the mind of a real athlete, or ace athlete. But there is so much more to say about it that I had to put myself to the task and write more. The mind controls the body, and the body controls the mind. It's how it has always been. Why do some sports players perform better than others? Is it all talent? Definitely not. Is there some talent involved? Of course. But most, if not all, successful trainers, gymnasts, athletes, competitors, runners, or Olympians have shared this common trait. They train their mind and their body by putting hours and hours of conscious effort into it. I promise you that you won't feel the same way after reading this book. It is full of inspirational examples of people who pushed and fought to make it to excellence. Halls of fame, championships, medals, and victories. If you are serious about your body, your exercising program, or the sport you play, then you need the right mindset. These quotes and stories come from those who have already gone there, and by following in their footsteps, you can achieve similar results at your own progress level. Don't underestimate the power of the mind when it comes to controlling your body. Start reading in the first chapter and find out how you can go beyond the stagnant, steady pace you have been going at. Learn from the best and accelerate your success and performance by acquiring the determined, focused mind of a true athlete. Chapter 1. Made to Move. Despite the development of technology and the shift towards day jobs that require little physical effort on our part, desk jobs, office work, and an emphasis on knowledge, our bodies are not made to sit still. All of us have tremendous potential to show what we've got in an athletic way. I speak from experience. When I was young, I grew up in a soccer or football culture. I lived in Europe, and the main sport for boys was soccer. I joined a club after being pressured by some of my friends. I did okay at soccer, and I was definitely developing some talent. However, during my teenage years, I fell in love with the game of basketball. Despite the lack of coaches, examples, or cultural excitement about this sport, I still trained hard to get better at it. I spent hours and hours on outdoor courts, perfecting my shots, my layups, my dribbles, and my passes. I took almost every opportunity to join a group of teenagers who were about to play a pickup game. I set crazy goals like dribbling the ball for about 2,500 times without losing control, hitting 75% of 100 three-pointers, dribbling up and down from one city to the next, dribbling with 2 balls at the same time, playing basketball for 12 hours in one day. The last few hours were slow. Playing an average of 2 hours per day, etc. Guess what? I became the best player in high school with over 1,000 students. Sure, there were less fanatics than in an American high school, especially since most of the culture was focused on soccer, but it still took quite some skill to become the best player. You could argue that I was just talented. You could say that I just had a knack for ball sports. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. By the way, I am only 6 feet tall, not your average NBA player size. Putting all the nonsense aside, I know this. I see so many people around me that give up so easily, claiming that they just don't have any talent, while others spend hundreds of hours figuring out the best techniques, following their favorite athletes on the internet, and putting the hard work in to achieve results. It is never just talent. Everyone has to put in the work. Now, let's talk about some medical aspects and scientific sides of the human body. It has been medically proven that people who do regular physical activity have up to a 35% lower risk of coronary heart disease and stroke, up to a 50% lower risk of type 2 diabetes, up to a 50% lower risk of colon cancer, up to a 20% lower risk of breast cancer, a 30% lower risk of early death. Interesting, isn't it? Let's look at some other facts. Regular physical activity can reduce blood pressure in those with high blood pressure levels. Physical activity reduces body fat, which is associated with high blood pressure. Non-insulin dependent diabetes. By reducing body fat, physical activity can help to prevent and control this type of diabetes. Moreover, exercising reduces stress, kills the cortisol hormone, increases sexual performance and/or control, burns calories, and does so much more. Working up a sweat can help manage physical and mental stress. Exercise also increases concentrations of norepinephrine, a chemical that can moderate the brain's response to stress. Exercising boosts dopamine and endorphin levels and creates an overall feeling of calmness and happiness if done properly. It boosts self-confidence and it makes us look more attractive. It helps to heal colds and improves the immune system. Did you know all that? Now, do you really think human beings are meant to sit still all day, watching TV or lying on the beach or something else? Laziness is attractive, but it is not good for us. So whether it's jumping with your kids on the trampoline, regular love-making sessions with your spouse, a ball game with your friends, a hike in the mountains, the occasional run or bike ride to the other side of town, working out in the gym, or swimming up and down in the swimming pool, you need to exercise. Chapter 2. Getting to the next level. Improving on ourselves is desirable. We would all like to become better at something. But how do we push ourselves or get pulled to the next level? Reasons. It is my personal opinion, and I think if you are a true athlete, you'll agree with me, that it is not enough to just work out every once in a while. This attitude focuses on the following idea. What is the least amount of effort I have to put into this in order to prevent 1. Becoming fat, 2. Getting medical problems, 3. Keep up with the team, 4. Only look good instead of really being in shape, 5. Qualify for a cheaper health insurance, 6. Score points and leave it at that, 7. Having to go on a diet. Let's break these down for a moment to see what is wrong about these attitudes. 1. Not becoming fat is not a bad motivation, but even if you aren't fat, there is something about being pulled to the next level and increasing your performance without changing your weight. The bare minimum to stay skinny is not good enough for someone who wants to maximize his or her talents. 2. Of course you should stay away from medical issues, but if you've been in good shape at a certain moment, you'll know that there are many people who don't have any medical problems, but they still underperform when it comes to sports, endurance, and athleticism. I remember I was in high school, and there were many geeks in my class who never worked out or played sports. They were usually on the computer all day. Also, not always a bad thing, but still, and even though they were skinny, they had a hard time running for more than 100 meters. They were out of shape, even though they didn't have any medical problems or obesity. Now, don't consider me to be an arrogant jock or something. I'm just trying to make a point. Some of those guys were good friends, and the only difference between them and me was that I played a lot of sports and they didn't. But the attitude was the beginning. They didn't care about physical exercise as much, and that's why they never reached their potential in that regard. 3. If you only want to keep up with the team, you're still in the bare minimum mindset. Sure, if the team you play for is very good, then try to have that pressure elevate your skills as well. But the true mindset should be to excel above how you perform. 4. Some people do it all for the looks, and I agree that this can motivate you in a certain way, but having a six-pack doesn't always mean strength, and looking nice in front of the ladies doesn't mean you participate in an athletic competition, especially if it's only the steroids and some weightlifting you've been doing. Looks are not everything. 5. Qualify for cheaper health insurance? Well, there are better ways to make or save money, buddy. Your focus shouldn't be on the money, not if you're a true athlete. 6. Scoring is important in a lot of sports. But then what? I play basketball regularly, and some of the guys I play with are excellent at shooting three-pointers. But man, are they out of shape. If you guard them well and prevent them from being able to shoot at all, which is easier because they aren't very fast, they are powerless. And what if you run a fast break? Seriously, it's not just about points, winning, or the precision and technique. True athleticism evolves around all those things and more. Endurance, willpower, perseverance, self-discipline, calmness of mind, focus, sharpness of the mind, and other qualities become part of your very character if you involve them in your sports activities. 7. Well, if you're just staying in shape to not be forced to go on a diet, guess what your focus is on? Food. Trust me, I love food. I love good food. Some of my best traveling memories include a giant steak, a traditional bakery, Thai curry dish, or an authentic Mexican burrito. Am I making you hungry yet? But as I became pickier about dishes, more financially free with money, and more aware of my nutrition, I also realized that there is more to life than food. There are so many people who live for food. They think about food. They snack all day. They talk about it a lot, and it seems like they've got nothing else on their minds. How pathetic is it to be an addict to those tiny taste buds on your tongue? Come on, we can do better than that. Food addiction, sugar addiction, fast food addiction, and so many other things related to this, they are real. Don't fall into this trap. There are so many more aspects of life to enjoy. Taste is only one of the 5 senses. I want to tell you a different story. I know someone who is pretty fanatic about martial arts. He has been a trainer for several years now, and he is doing very well. But there was a point in his life when he struggled with his health, and during this time, he also had other issues, which motivated him to go to a kung fu school in China for about 5 months. This is what he said. I remember the first day I came there, they were making us condition our shins and fists and elbows. I had to punch and kick against a tree. The Chinese trainers were harsh, and they had no mercy. All they cared about was results. No pain, no gain. If we refused, they would hit us with an iron stick on our legs and laugh. You could say they were sadistic, but all they were trying to do was toughen us up. One of the ways they pushed us to the next level was by having us run uphill. We were in a mountain area, and in the morning, we all had to jog to the top. One of the best things I learned there is to push myself a little harder when I hear that voice in my head that I can't go on any longer. That's the moment when you have to go on a little longer, because that's the moment you are reaching your limit. When you reach your limit, the only way to remove it is by going on at those critical moments. I was amazed by his story, and when I went running with him, this is exactly what we did. We ran for some time, and when he saw I had a hard time going on, he told me that this was the best moment to go on for a little longer. We often think that we reached our limit, he said. But if you really think about it, we just tell ourselves that because it is difficult. Let me ask you this. If someone gave you $1 million to run for another 15 minutes, would you do it? Of course. So that means there is still some strength in you. Well, what about 20 minutes or 30? At what point have you gone so far that you really have to give your body a rest? I realized when we talked that a lot of barriers to achieve more are mental, especially when it comes to physical exercise. When we work on a business, we may just require more knowledge or better strategies. When we want a better relationship, we may just have to shut up and listen more often or say the right words. When we try to finish a piece of art, our brain and our hands are the only things that will help us create something magnificent. But when we exercise, motivation matters a lot. Excuses. I just mentioned the inner voice in our heads, and this is part of it. I know, you might say that you never make excuses. Well, everyone does every once in a while. We all do it, and don't beat yourself up about it. Just change it. I remember one of my friends had a little fitness video. It was a series of daily 5 or 10 minute exercises, and it was intense. The movements consisted of jumping, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and a lot of uncomfortable, awkward positions and strength-enhancing exercises. One of my family members, who had had a knee injury in the previous years and who also happen to love frequent milkshakes, chocolate bars, snacks, and steaks, joined us for a minute or two. After 2 minutes, he began to complain. "This is not good for my knee," he said. We both looked surprised. The exercises were not putting any strain on his knee. We knew it because we had both done it, and besides, I had had a similar knee injury and surgery and was doing fine. He kept complaining and quit after 2 or 3 minutes. I remember the feeling of pity I felt for this guy and the disgust for his weakness. He just made up an excuse because these intense exercises were too hard for him, and he didn't feel like getting tired. It was sad. There are so many excuses that we either tell ourselves, the voices in our heads, or that we hear others say. Do some of these sound familiar? "I am already old. My metabolism slowed down." "Everyone is eating this. It can't be bad for me." "I can't anymore. I just can't." "This is too hard." "I don't have to become a pro. I just want to have fun." "I am not talented anyway." "It has been too long." "I have other priorities now." "I gotta watch out for my injury." "I hate getting sweaty." "It's too hot." "People will judge me." "It takes too much time." "Some people are good at sports, but they are still jerks." "It's all about the money." "I would rather be smart than strong or fast." These lies are so dangerous because they are always based on a half-truth, but they are never completely true. Yes, you can go on a little longer, and no, it doesn't always matter if it's hot. You do have to be careful with your injuries, but that doesn't mean there aren't ways to work out. Training never takes a lot of time because it's best to do a little every day. And all the other nonsense I can think of, we use to justify our laziness. Rewards. Give yourself something as a reward. It's important that you do this to keep yourself going. Lying down on the couch, watching your favorite movie, or maybe even a little snack. But make sure you don't reward yourself too quickly. You have to earn it. I'm not going to expand on this too much because it's very simple. If you wanted to buy something, play a certain video game, or eat something, you have to earn it. If you do, you'll feel better about indulging yourself. Self-image. How do you look at yourself? The only way you can take your skills and endurance to the next level is by having a good self-image. This, however, is almost an oxymoron. You do your best, you push yourself to the limit, and your self-image will automatically become better. As your self-image becomes better, you can more confidently go at it and perform even better. It's a cycle, but you have to start by taking action. A word about arrogance, though. I've seen so many people who tend to get full of themselves when they become better, and it doesn't work in their favor. I have seen sports teams who thought they were all that, and then they were defeated by the underdog. You could always tell that their selfish style or their laziness on the field or the court prevented them from giving everything they had. Stay humble and be teachable. This is the only way to progress. People who think they know it all are often the first ones that fall. How can anyone say they are ever the best? I've seen countless athletes who would win a gold medal or championship in one year, only to be defeated by a competitor the next year. Even the ones who set records and excelled in their specific sport were often beaten by someone else a few years later. We all grow old and die. We all have fluctuating performances, and we all have weaknesses. Don't let your pride be your downfall. The best way to maintain a great self-image is to be humble, but willing to sacrifice and make progress. Be confident enough to know your past successes and abilities, the good moments that gave you tingly feelings inside, and at the same time, never think you are there. Enjoy the process as well as the results. Chapter 3. The 61 Motivational Sports Quotes. In this chapter, I will show you some of the most inspirational, best quotes from sports players. These people have, regardless of their personal lives, more about that later, excelled in their field and have paved the way for others to follow. 1. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan. 2. The way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a dime. Babe Ruth. 3. Every day is a new opportunity. You can build on yesterday's success or put its failures behind and start over again. That's the way life is, with a new game every day. And that's the way baseball is. Bob Feller. 4. Sports are such a great teacher. I think of everything they've taught me: camaraderie, humility, how to resolve differences. Kobe Bryant. 5. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. Vince Lombardi. 6. Gold medals aren't really made of gold. They're made of sweat, determination, and a hard-to-find alloy called guts. Dan Gable. 7. Sports do not build character. They reveal it. Haywood Brown. 8. You can't put a limit on anything. The more you dream, the farther you get. Michael Phelps. 9. That's one thing you learn in sports. You don't give up. You fight to the finish. Louis Zamperini. 10. It's just a job. Grass grows, birds fly, waves pound the sand. I beat people up. Muhammad Ali. 11. Champions keep playing until they get it right. Billie Jean King. 12. A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. Wayne Gretzky. 13. Just be patient. Let the game come to you. Don't rush. Be quick, but don't hurry. Earl Monroe. 14. To me, it doesn't matter how good you are. Sport is all about playing and competing. Whatever you do in cricket and in sport, enjoy it. Be positive and try to win. Ian Botham. 15. Apart from education, you need good health, and for that, you need to play sports. Kapil Dev. 16. You don't play against opponents. You play against the game of basketball. Bobby Knight. 17. The great thing coming from sports is you understand the concept of a team. It leaves no room for being selfish, and that's something I picked up from home. Michael Strahan. 18. Adversity causes some men to break, others to break records. William Arthur Ward. 19. These are my new shoes. They're good shoes. They won't make you rich like me. They won't make you rebound like me. They definitely won't make you handsome like me. They'll only make you have shoes like me. That's it. Charles Barkley. 20. Swimming is probably the ultimate of burnout sports. It's ironic because millions of people who swim as their regular exercise love the meditation aspect of it. You don't wind up with any orthopedic injuries, but when you swim at a world-class level for hours and hours, the loneness of the long-distance runner. Diana Nyad. 21. Serious sport has nothing to do with fair play. It is bound up with hatred, jealousy, boastfulness, disregard of all rules, and sadistic pleasure in witnessing violence. In other words, it is war, minus the shooting. George Orwell. 22. I'm one of these people that likes adrenaline and new things, like extreme sports. It makes me feel alive. Gisele Bündchen. 23. I was very fortunate to play sports. All the anger in me went out. I had to do what I had to do. If you stay angry all the time, then you really don't have a good life. Willie Mays. 24. Wrestling is ballet with violence. Jesse Ventura. 25. I think sports makes for good drama because it has all the same ingredients as anything worth reading or listening to or watching. Conflict, desire, heartbreak, it's all there. Jay Baruchel. 26. You always get a special kick on opening day, no matter how many you go through. You look forward to it like a birthday party when you're a kid. You think something wonderful is going to happen. Joe DiMaggio. 27. If a tie is like kissing your sister, losing is like kissing your grandmother with her teeth out. George Brett. 28. Life wasn't easy growing up. It was frustrating. If I'd been a better reader, then that would have come easily. Sports would have come easily. Everything would have come easily. And I never would have realized that the way you get ahead in life is hard work. Caitlyn Jenner. 29. I think that in any group activity, whether it be business, sports, or family, there has to be leadership or it won't be successful. John Wooden. 30. One of the most basic factors in sports is that winning becomes a habit, and losing is the same way. When failure starts to feel normal in your life, or your work, or even your darkest vices, you won't have to go looking for trouble, because trouble will find you. Count on it. Hunter S. Thompson. 31. I am building a fire, and every day I train. I add more fuel. At just the right moment, I light the match. Mia Hamm. 32. Team sports are very important for shaping personalities. It's important that kids understand the mentality behind playing team sports and playing for one another and playing with friends. Brian O'Driscoll. 33. Play is the only way the highest intelligence of humankind can unfold. Joseph Chilton Pierce. 34. I'm a golfer, and what are the two sports you can do till you drop? Golf and surfing. They're great for you limber-wise, they're great for you health-wise, and they put you in sweet locations. Matthew McConaughey. 35. The paradox of endurance sports is that an athlete can never work as hard as he wants, because if he pushes himself too far, his hematocrit will fail. Malcolm Gladwell. 36. It doesn't matter if you win, as long as you give everything in your heart. Michael Jordan. 37. Honestly, I don't listen to nobody else's music but my own. It's kind of like sports to me. You don't see Kobe Bryant at a LeBron James game. He just works on his own game. And that's what I do. I only listen to me, so I can criticize and analyze and all those things. Lil Wayne. 38. You win some, lose some, and wreck some. Dale Earnhardt. 39. Olympism is the marriage of sport and culture. Juan Antonio Samaranch. 40. Approach the game with no preset agendas, and you'll probably come away surprised at your overall efforts. Phil Jackson. 41. Sports is the common denominator in the world that brings everyone together. If there's any one place in the world where there is equality, it is probably sports. That was something that didn't always exist. We've come a long way in sports. Why can't society use sports as a way to bring people together and create change? Stephen M. Ross. 42. Finding good players is easy. Getting them to play as a team is another story. Casey Stengel. 43. I love sports. I've played basketball, baseball, soccer, tennis, track and field growing up. Michael Jordan. 44. Perhaps the single most important element in mastering the techniques and tactics of racing is experience. But once you have the fundamentals, acquiring the experience is a matter of time. Greg LeMond. 45. God made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. Eric Liddell. 46. Regardless of the obstacles or hurdles that are ahead of you, regardless of the opponent, regardless of the odds, your goal and objective always is to win. I think that's part of sports. Grant Hill. 47. Compared to politics, I think sports is funnier because it's inconsequential. And politics can be real important and all that. The more pointless something is, the funnier it is, you know? Norm Macdonald. 48. For me, sports is a big part of my life. It helped me through high school. It helped me get better grades. Because if you don't have good grades, you can't play sports. David Charvet. 49. Sports teaches you there's always a second innings in life. If you fail today, there's a second innings maybe 2 days later. Maybe there's another opportunity coming 3 or 6 months later. If you look at mistake as learnings and commit never to make a same mistake again, then you actually get better with every mistake that you make. Harsha Bogle. 50. The Olympic Games must not be an end in itself. They must be a means of creating a vast program of physical education and sports competitions for all young people. Avery Brundage. 51. Sports nurtures dreams of achieving self-confidence and masculine striving for the skinny kid watching a boxer dance around the ring with sublime ease. Armstrong Williams. 52. I used to play sports. Then I realized you can buy trophies. Now I am good at everything. Dimitri Martin. 53. Unfortunately, the world is what it is now. People don't get along for whatever reason. As professional athletes, in a way, we're almost ambassadors for peace because sports brings everyone together. Venus Williams. 54. The things that people do now in sports, you can't even believe. These are complete, total athletes. To see what human beings can do in the highest level is amazing. Billy Joe Armstrong. 55. In most sports, your brain and your body will cooperate. But in rock climbing, it is the other way around. Your brain doesn't see the point in climbing upwards. Your brain will tell you to keep as low as possible, to cling to the wall and not get any higher. You have to have your brain persuading your body to do the right movements. Joe Nesbo. 56. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Les Brown. 57. There may be people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do. Derek Jeter. 58. Victory is having done your best. If you have done your best, you've won. Billy Bowerman. 59. Age is no barrier. It's a limitation you put on your mind. Jackie Joyner Kersey. 60. Somewhere behind the athlete you've become, and the hours of practice and the coaches who have pushed you, is a little girl who fell in love with the game and never looked back. Play for her. Mia Hamm. 61. Hard days are the best, because that's when champions are made. Gabby Douglas. Chapter 4. Separating personal lives from performance. When you want to achieve the results you long for, it is important to keep the following in mind. Just because a sports player's personal life isn't something you want to emulate, doesn't mean you cannot learn from his or her sports performance. Sometimes we forget this. We look at an athlete and then see him on the news, trying to justify that he cheated on his wife, wasted millions of dollars on useless junk, or say something mean against his ex-girlfriend he refuses to pay alimony to. Some female athletes are straight up arrogant. Some boxers are just big bullies. And some soccer players spend more time in front of the mirror to admire themselves than helping and assisting others who need them. There are those who are selfish when it comes to spending money, those who file for bankruptcy while they have a millions of dollars per year contract, and those who cheat. lie, use drugs, smuggle drugs, do illegal things, have been in prison, have had 30 failed relationships, or say stupid things like, "I am just a man." Some sports players are full of tattoos and piercings and are, in my opinion, overdoing all of that. Some have a ridiculous attitude. Others are rude to fans or competitors. And others get so full of themselves that they wouldn't even talk to you if you said hi. There are sports narcissists, criminals, thieves, abusers, and cheaters. How can you emulate any of that behavior? You shouldn't. However, and this is where people often go wrong, this shouldn't stand in your way of emulating their sports behavior. These people may have failed in life when it comes to finances, relationships, or public conduct, but they have succeeded in tremendous ways in the sports area. And just because you copy the way they train, work on their skill set, and improve themselves, doesn't mean you have to copy any of the inappropriate behavior you may have heard on the news. I like art, for example, and I have followed some artists that I think are the best ones. I have seen their works and saved some of their pictures and drawings on my computer, completely admiring what they did. However, some of those artists drew sexually explicit images as well, something I am against. Now, does that mean I have to forget about these people entirely? Of course not. I can still admire the pieces of art that don't have that kind of provoking content while ignoring the rest. Don't make the mistake of ignoring the role models in sports. You can learn from them. But don't make the mistake of mimicking their behavior in other aspects in life either. Just because they get a home run or a lot of three-pointers or goals doesn't mean you should get the same tattoo, talk the same way, or get into trouble with the same kinds of people. That is nonsense. In the next chapter, I will show some examples of sports excellence. But not all of these people were good examples in their relationships or personal lives. I am asking you to ignore that fact and purely look at their athletic performance for inspiration. Chapter 5. Professional Examples of Excellence. It's always good to have role models, so let's look at some of these professional sports players who have taken their skills to the next level. Bethany Hamilton. This girl grew up in Hawaii, and she was already surfing at the age of 7. However, in 2003, a shark bit off her left arm. During her recovery, she made 2 promises to herself. First, she would not complain about her hardships. Second, she would get back into surfing, despite her missing arm. It took her only 26 days to recover enough to surf again. As of now, she is ranked as among the top 50 female surfers in the world. She also won first prize in the Explorer Women's Division of the NSSA National Championships. Her disability was not easy. Actually, she mentioned how frustrating it was to surf with one arm, and you can imagine that her balance was off. Her fear of the water had to be overcome, and they even made a movie about her called Soul Surfer. She has become a role model for young amputees and an inspiration for girls with amputations through her charity called the Friends of Bethany. One of the things she likes to say is, "Courage doesn't mean you are not afraid. Courage means you don't let your fear stop you." Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is seen as the greatest Olympian swimmer of all time. Everyone thought that no swimmer would be able to win 8 gold medals in just one Olympic Games. Michael did just that, and he has 19 Olympic medals, 15 of which are gold. The trouble was, and everyone predicted that this was going to be a major problem, that he was diagnosed with ADHD. Those who have ADHD often face restlessness and a lack of attention. But what people didn't realize at the time is that ADHD can also help you stay hyper-focused on one specific activity you are passionate about. This is what helped Michael Phelps perform the way he did. He used his quirks to his advantage and turned them into strengths. With his focus on success in swimming, he has shown the world that something deviating from a normal or average mind can be something extraordinary. Phelps has shown that he can beat the most disciplined and strongest swimmers in the world and is an inspiring role model for those with disorders. He mentioned that once you are passionate about something, there are no limits to your success. Nothing can stop you, he said. Nobody's going to put a limit on what I'm doing. I'm going to do what I want to do, when I want to do it. That is how I have always worked. If I want something, I am going to go and get it. Kieran Behan. He was told he would never walk again. This is what physicians told Kieran after they removed a cancerous tumor from his thigh when he was only 10 years old. Surgery was a failure, and he woke up screaming in pain from massive nerve damage. Up to that point, he had been fond of gymnastics and had decided to become an Olympic champion. Now he was confined to a wheelchair, and he could never walk again. Opportunity gone. Say goodbye to your dreams, buddy. But Kieran wasn't done yet. After a recovery of about 15 months in a wheelchair, he was back in the gym, training with a determined mind. After several months, he slipped from the high bar and got an awful head injury. His injury was so severe that he faced regular blackouts when he blinked. He had to skip a year of school, but he still wanted to become a gymnast. As if the wheelchair hadn't been bad enough, this injury was taking the best of him. He had to retrain his brain and get back his coordination. He went back to school using a walking stick and was cruelly taunted by the other students in his class. It took him 3 years of hard training to get back at the same gymnast level as before the accident, but he suffered some fractures. Then another blow came when his knee snapped just after he had been selected for the European Championships. Behan has said that this was when he was about to give up. Eventually, after not giving up, he became the Challenge World Cup champion in 2011. In the London 2012 Olympics, he got accepted and competed for the top. The setbacks, the injuries, and the terrible surgery were not enough to stop this guy from becoming an Olympian. Michael Jordan. Almost everyone knows Michael Jordan. He has received a lot of Hall of Fame awards, Most Valuable Player awards, championship rings, and more. When people think of basketball, they usually think of him, even though there are many great players out there. Michael Jordan says his success is rooted in the many failures he has had to face because he has claimed they made him try even harder. They did not discourage him. When he was young, he was not even considered to be accepted into the local basketball teams, and they didn't think he had enough talent. He was cut from the high school basketball team. He counted his failures. They include 300 lost games, missing the game winner for at least 26 times. This is what he says. I know that fear is an obstacle for some people, but for me, it is just an illusion. Failure always makes me try harder on the next opportunity. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali has been seen as one of the best boxers of all time, if not the best. He has won many awards like the Golden Glove and an Olympic gold medal at the 1960 Games in Rome. His career has been inspiring to many people. After retiring from the boxing game, he spent his life and time on philanthropy and charities, especially the ones that were somehow connected to Parkinson's disease, from which he suffered himself. Muhammad Ali knew how to take risks. From the early age of 12, when someone stole his bike, he was determined to take on any future thieves so he could get better at fighting. He didn't shy away from danger, and that was what made him stronger. A lot of boxers don't want to take a lot of risks because they could possibly get injured or damaged. Their perfectionism leads to being too careful, and they fail to take the matches into their own hands. Muhammad, however, did the opposite. He put his health on the line so many times that he couldn't count them. He was not afraid, something you definitely need when picking a fight. In his words, he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. Chapter 6. More Underdog Stories. If you didn't think these were enough, then here are some more stories of athletes who had to start from scratch, who turned their failures into successes, and beat the tough times in life to make something happen. Diego Maradona. This Argentinian soccer football player achieved greatness in his career and will still be remembered forever. Some fans regard him as the best soccer player of all time. He played in Barcelona and Napoli, among others, two major European teams. Maradona's vision, passing, ball control, dribbling skills, speed, reflexes, and reaction time was combined with his small size, 1.65 meters, or 5 foot 5 inches tall, giving him a low center of gravity, which allowed him to be more maneuverable than most other football players. He would often dribble past multiple opposing players on a run. He had a lot of talent, and he was sometimes given the nickname, the Golden Boy. Maradona played in 4 FIFA World Cups, encompassing staying in the field for 16 years and winning the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. After his career, he became a coach for the Argentina team in November 2008. He was also in charge of the team in the 2010 South Africa World Cup and coached a team in Dubai. Francisco Cornejo, the youth coach who discovered Maradona's talent, said, "When Diego came to Argentinos Juniors for trials, I was really struck by his talent and couldn't believe he was only 8 years old. In fact, we asked him for his ID card so we could check it, but he told us he didn't have it on him. We were sure he was having us on because, although he had the physique of a child, he played like an adult. When we discovered he'd been telling us the truth, we decided to devote ourselves purely to him." Diego Armando Maradona was raised in Villa Fiorito, a shanty town in the southern suburbs of Buenos Aires. His family was poor, and he had to work in a factory as a kid. When the scout discovered him at a neighborhood game, he began to play for local teams, and eventually for better-known teams. One of 6 children in a poor family, he says in his autobiography that his father never allowed him to go without a meal, but that he had to work in a factory from 4 a.m. each day to do so. Maradona is one of those sports players who actually did have trouble with drugs, financial stability, and family-related issues. Many have said that his personal life should not be emulated. However, if you can separate that from his determination and his drive on the field, and get inspired by his outstanding performance, then this underdog story is one not to be forgotten. Jeremy Lin. NBA fans will always remember Linsanity, the time when an unknown point guard named Jeremy Lin took the New York Knicks on a journey of excellence in the year of 2012. Lin was the big hype in the NBA for some time. Even superstars like LeBron James and others were put into the background as Lin showed off his best moves in the Madison Square Garden. Eventually, he ended up playing for the Houston Rockets. Jeremy's family wasn't always happy about his choice, but they accepted his basketball passion nonetheless. He grew up near Los Angeles, California. Shirley, his mother, helped form a national junior basketball program in Palo Alto where Lin played. She worked with coaches to ensure his playing did not affect academics. She was criticized by her friends for letting Lin play so much basketball, but let him play the game he enjoyed. Josh Hamilton. Los Angeles Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton has one of the most amazing backgrounds in all of sports. This baseball player knew no fear. His determination is an example to all of us. Hamilton was once seen as one of the best young players in the country when he was working his way through the Tampa Bay Rays farm system. He was the number 1 overall pick in the 1999 MLB draft. It all went downhill for the Angels slugger not too long after that. He got into trouble with drugs and alcohol, and both his baseball career and personal life took a big step backwards. Mike DiGiovanna of the Los Angeles Times wrote about his struggle and journey from hell to sobriety. And yes, you might blame him for this, but the extraordinary part is that he climbed out of this bad time. He would eventually turn his career around with the Texas Rangers before signing a colossal deal worth $125 million to play for the Angels in 2012. It's been a tough road for Hamilton that hasn't let up. Hopefully, he can do everything in his power to stay on the straight and narrow. Michael Orr. Maybe this guy is one of the most famous underdog stories out there. The Tennessee Titans tackle's life was documented in the 2009 film The Blind Side. Orr was adopted by Leanne Toohey and her family after a difficult childhood. He grew up to play at Ole Miss, and in the end, He became a first-round pick during the NFL draft in 2009. Now he has a Super Bowl ring, a hefty contract, courtesy of the Titans, and a film under his belt. Orr's life didn't have an easy start. His mother was an alcoholic and crack cocaine addict, and his father was in prison a lot. Because of the lack of parenting, he did not get much attention and education in his childhood. He repeated both first and second grades and attended 11 different schools during his first 9 years as a student. He was placed in foster care at age 7 and alternated between living in various foster homes and periods of homelessness. His story will now be remembered well after his playing career is over, especially after the many impressive results in his American football career. Chapter 7. The Invisible Crowd. When you go running, or when you work out or train by yourself, there is an invisible crowd. You cannot see it or hear it in a physical sense. You cannot rely on it being scientifically proven. It is not just make-believe. This crowd is real. Let me explain. Development of your character. First of all, the invisible crowd that is cheering you on is yourself. You gain confidence as you sacrifice your energy to get into shape. After more training and practicing, you will be able to hear the voice inside your head telling you that you are doing well. This confirmation gives peace of mind and boosts your self-esteem. You are developing your resistance to laziness and giving in to temptation. You are not just getting stronger physically, but mentally as well. This is you, your own crowd, the many versions of you that exist. By that, I don't mean that you have a split personality, but each person behaves differently in different situations and among various people. You will always adapt your words and actions to where and with whom you are. Therefore, in a way, there are many different versions of you. But the point is that all these versions will come together and cheer you on when you persevere through a tough training or take the initiative to work out when nobody is looking. In the secret corners of the world, that's where real battles are won. For each time you score in the field or the court, you have practiced that same move hundreds of times on a lonely spot when everyone was leaving or when nobody was there to give you an immediate reward. At those moments, you will get better at cheering yourself on when you repeat those actions more often. Voices of the past. I remember one of our coaches one time told us to lie down on our backs on the floor and envision one of the best moments from the past. Picture a moment when you did one of your best moves, when everyone was impressed, when you made a major comeback, or when someone complimented you on your performance. Now keep that picture in mind and begin the game with full confidence. We've all had good days and bad days. The best thing is to remember the good days. There were moments in everyone's lives when they impressed another with their skills. Think of those moments. Just because they are in the past and the crowd went home doesn't mean they wouldn't cheer you on if they happen to be there with you now. They are still impressed by that one moment, and the only barrier between those lonely moments and that one moment that someone was looking is time. Just because nobody is watching anymore doesn't mean that they wouldn't if they just knew about it, had the time to come, or were specifically interested in your kind of sport. Don't lose the good memories and use them as fuel to push you forward. The future. You're training, you're doing it, and it's hard. And perhaps you wonder, who cares? Nobody is watching. I get nothing out of this. Well, maybe nobody is watching now, but they will be. When you work on your abs, sometime a young lady might come along and admire your torso. She hasn't been watching all those times you worked so hard, but eventually she does. When you practice your basketball shot or your baseball swing, your rugby moves or your tennis skills, nobody is watching. But when the time comes that you actually will find yourself in a match, all those skills will come back to you. Your talent remains, and it shows in the results. Keep the future in mind. People will cheer for you when they see how far you've come. Again, the only barrier is time. A higher power. Now, I don't know if you believe in God, Allah, the universe, or some other higher entity. I don't know if you believe in karma, coincidence, fate, destiny, or an eternal plan. But one thing is certain. There are consequences to everything. The world is just that way. If you train, you become better. It's that simple. If you give, you usually feel happier and/or receive back. The infinite laws cannot be broken. Use this to help you progress. Believe in something or someone who looks down at you with an approving wink and a thumbs up when you do something difficult to gain something better in the long run. If you do this, you will have more success and feel that God, Allah, the universe, or something, or someone else is on your side. And that eliminates loneliness and purposelessness, two things we, as humans, so often erroneously feel and impose on ourselves without thinking about the bigger picture. Hopefully these thoughts, quotes, and examples have encouraged you to make the most out of your life and your sports skills, even if you won't make money with them or become famous with them. Becoming a true athlete who is in good shape is a matter of honor and self-respect. You don't need people, TV screens, or finances to confirm that you've done well. You will know it in your heart, and it's something to hold on to for the rest of your life. Thanks again for buying my book. If you have a minute, please leave a positive review. I take reviews seriously and always look at them. This way you are helping me provide you better content that you will love in the future. A review doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences, and a number of stars you find appropriate. Hopefully 5, of course. Also, if I think your review is useful, I will mark it as helpful. This will help you become more known on Amazon as a decent reviewer and will ensure that more authors will contact you with free ebooks in the future. This is how we can help each other. This has been Mind Gym, Sports Quotes and Stories of Self-Discipline, written by Vance Avery, narrated by Sam Slidell. Copyright 2017 by Vance Avery. Production copyright 2017 by Vance Avery. Mind Gym, the best exercises to aid true athletes, written by Vance Avery, narrated by Sam Slidell. Introduction. Whether mild or intensive, exercises are important to every athlete, whatever sports you are playing. Most athletes depend on their coach's training. Most of the times, they are afraid to think beyond the necessary training for them or are contented of what is given as training. Some athletes even make excuses to disregard training. With this book, you will learn the exercises that are good for you and the different muscles that these exercises affect the different fitness factors, namely strength, agility, flexibility, endurance, and balance of your body. Reading this book will ultimately help you achieve your fitness goals as an athlete. It will help you understand the different core muscles essential in keeping you strong, agile, and powerful. The exercises in this book will certainly improve your performance as an athlete. This book is a product of thorough research. Many athletes and fitness enthusiasts use the exercises discussed in this book. Even trainers use these theories and exercises to improve the overall well-being of their clients. Coaches incorporate the different exercises in this book in enhancing the performance of their team members. Plus, the exercises are easy to follow and execute. Most of the exercises do not require gym equipment or membership. You can do it from the comfort of your home, your lawn, or wherever you prefer. This book promises you to become a better athlete. This book helps you to create a training routine suitable for you based on body weight. However, it does not promise you to do it in a matter of days. An athlete's competitiveness and performance take a long time to build. This book will help you build and achieve such goals. To find out these exercises, turn the page and start reading now. Chapter 1. Training Factors to Remember. Whether you admit it or not, every athlete has a weakness or two. You need different exercise routines to address these various weaknesses. Some exercises may even target a specific muscle group to keep this group nimble, explosive, and fast in responding to stimuli, such as catching a ball or throwing a basketball to a teammate. What are these factors that make you a better and competitive athlete? These factors are strength, endurance, flexibility, agility, and balance. Although you need specific training exercise in improving a specific factor, performing exercises that target the other factors will improve your overall competitiveness. Furthermore, exercises that address the different fitness factors contribute to your well-being as an athlete. Some athletes need to focus on improving their strength because they are powerlifters. Others focus on flexibility and agility because they are high jump athletes, while runners focus on endurance. However, striking a balance between these 5 factors will make you a better and more competitive athlete than focusing on a specific factor. You may even sustain injuries if you do not perform flexibility exercises. You may even compromise your endurance skills if you do not devote time to agility exercises. In the following chapters, expect to learn the best exercises to improve your strength, to enhance your endurance, to increase agility and flexibility, and to maintain balance so that you do not endanger yourself during the actual event or game. The benefits of a balanced exercise routine. Most athletes commit the mistake of performing the same exercise regime over the course of a month or a week. If you are one of these athletes who never introduces randomness into a routine, now is the time to start taking exercise routines that truly strengthen your core muscles, improve your balance, and increase your speed. Chapter 2. Various body and core muscles. Your body composes of different muscles that help you move, run, lift, or stretch. It has minor and major muscles. In most training programs, you might have heard the importance of core muscles and the benefits of strengthening such muscles in improving your performance as an athlete. Before you begin exercising or developing your own exercise program, you must understand the core muscles that you need to strengthen, improve, or enhance in order to become an excellent athlete. Chest and upper back. The muscles in the chest and upper back consist of many major muscles in the body. These muscles are responsible for various movements, such as raising your arm and moving the head from side to side. The muscles in this region are trapezius, rhomboid major, pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, infraspinatus, teres major, serratus anterior, deltoid, and latissimus dorsi. The pectoralis major, commonly referred to as pecs, is the largest, dominant muscle on each side of the chest. It is responsible for moving the arm in lateral, rotational, and vertical motions. These muscles help you in breathing. The pecs are more developed in men than in women, especially if properly worked out. Arms and hand. Muscles in the arms and hand are designed to cater to your body's needs of speed, strength, and precision. They help in completing daily activities such as gripping, riding, lifting, and washing. Athletic activities that involve the arms and hands muscles include throwing a javelin or ball in a basketball or volleyball, or punching in boxing sports. These sports require strong arm and hand muscles in performing the activities properly. At the same time, these kinds of sports require fast and precise movements. The upper arm muscles help in flexing and extending the elbow joint. 3 muscles are used in the flexing movement of the arm. These are the brachialis, biceps brachii, and brachioradialis, while the triceps brachii acts as the extensor. The flexor carpi radialis and flexor digitorum superficialis are responsible for the reflexes of the arm and hands. Thus, if athletes or bodybuilders would like to increase the size on their arms, they normally perform exercises and rigorous training that target these areas. Abdomen, lower back, and pelvis. The muscles found in your abdomen, lower back, and pelvis protect your vital organs such as liver, intestines, and kidneys. Most trainers refer to this muscle group as the core muscles since these muscles are responsible for the movement of the torso, posture, and stability of your body. The muscles transverse and rectus abdominis and the internal and external obliques are part of this muscle group. On the other hand, the muscles of the lower back are responsible in bending and adjusting your body to maintain balance. The erector spinae and quadratus lumborum muscles are part of the lower back muscle group. In the pelvic part, you can find part of the gluteus maximus and hamstrings. In this part, the buttocks, lower back, and the thighs are interconnected. The pelvic muscles support your weight and any forward motion you make, such as walking, running, and lunges. The psoas major and iliacus are pelvic muscles responsible for rotating the hips. Leg and foot. The muscles starting from the thigh to the foot support weight, balance, and propelling the body in a forward motion. The muscles in the leg and foot are powerful muscles. If you keep them active and fit, these muscles greatly benefit you as an athlete. These muscles constantly adjust to accommodate your movements, whether these movements are at rest or in motion. The quadriceps femoris, the iliopsoas, and sartorius work as a group in flexing the thigh near the pelvis and in extending the legs and knees. The major part of the hamstrings and gluteus maximus is found in the leg or thigh part. The hams and glutes create the opposite motion of the quadriceps by extending the leg in the hip and flexing the knees. Basically, the foot and leg muscles help you in standing, walking, maintaining balance, tiptoeing, and many other activities. Chapter 3. Why understand your body muscles? Knowing the different body and core muscles gives you a better understanding on how your muscle works. With understanding, you can create a program that addresses your weakness as an athlete. You will discover your limitations during your training. Posture improvement. Understanding your body means knowing what to do and how to do it. When properly done, core training can improve your posture as an athlete. Most athletes may have good posture during the competition, but with their normal activities, they tend to forget posture. Awareness of the different body muscles that affect posture make you conscious if you are standing correctly or doing an exercise correctly. Core stability. With core stability, you can perform complex training exercises. You can handle even the most exhaustive training without complaining from muscle strain. Balance enhancement. Balance enhancement does not only refer to the balance of the body, it also means the proper balance of training one muscle group together with other muscle groups. Most athletes have imbalanced muscles, where one muscle group is stronger than the others, and vice versa. This imbalance in the muscles makes you a weaker athlete. Some days you find you have explosive strength, but you lack the agility needed to execute a game strategy. This leads to failure, or worse, frustration over your own weakness. Although some sports require strength-only or agility-only factors, balanced muscles will give you a better advantage over your opponents. Prevention of injury. There are so many conflicting theories regarding the benefit of core training and its benefits in preventing injuries. However, 3 things are clear in core training. First, too much training causes injuries. Second, decreased activity of the muscles produces injuries. If you subject these muscles to intensive gameplay after prolonged inactivity, these muscles sustain tears and strain, which may lead to injuries, either temporarily or permanently. Lastly, improper training of these muscles leads to injuries. Thus, it is important to know the different functions of these muscles. It gives you an idea on how these muscles work. Knowing the functions of the muscles helps you determine your limitations. You identify when is the right time to lift a very heavy bar or perform too many crunches. Chapter 4. Flexibility exercises. Some coaches, trainers, and athletes ignore flexibility exercises because of its indirect role in preventing injuries and in making an athlete perform better. This training factor may be undervalued, but you may still benefit if you include some flexibility exercises in your training routine. What is flexibility? In general, it means the ability of a joint and its adjoining muscles to create movement without sustaining an injury. This movement can either be passive or active. A passive flexibility movement involves no muscle to hold a stretch. For example, you stretch your shoulder blades without moving them backward or forward. Inflexible muscles limit your movements. You may suffer muscle strain after doing an intensive movement, such as running for an hour. This may lead to an injury. To test for muscle flexibility, try connecting your hands through your back, where one arm is above your shoulders and the other is elbow level. If you have a hard time doing it, your shoulder, arms, and back muscles may not be as flexible as they should be. The benefits of flexibility exercise. Flexibility exercise activates the muscles in your body. This exercise warms up your body. You are preparing your body for an optimum performance. It also improves the range of motion in your joints and muscles. Increased range of motion means increased flexibility. Increased flexibility means decreased injuries. With dynamic flexibility exercise, you increase body awareness. Through a dynamic warm-up, you can feel which of your muscles are tight and are in need of flexibility exercise. It also challenges your coordination and helps you identify which skills are essential for a better performance. A flexibility exercise also enhances muscular power. Since you have readied your body for rigorous training, lifting a weight or running a mile is easier than training without any flexibility warm-up. Calories burned. The calories you burned in performing flexibility exercises depend on your weight, height, the length or how long your stretching exercises are, and how dynamic or static the stretches are. Larger people burn more calories than smaller people do because their body needs more energy to sustain a movement. Approximately, a mild dynamic stretching can burn 140 calories for a 140-pound person. Men may even burn more calories than women do. On the other hand, extremely static stretches may only burn 40 calories or more, but not more than 70 or 80 calories. Different flexibility exercises and stretching. Most flexibility exercises involve stretching. Stretching exercises have different types which you can include in your training program. Some types of stretches and flexibility exercises are sport-specific, while others are for generic purposes. Exercise 1. Dynamic flexibility exercises. These exercises involve an active movement of the muscles. The ideal dynamic warm-up is 5 to 10 minutes. Examples of dynamic exercises are leg swings, walking lunges, cradle hip walk, and arms swings. Examples of sport-specific dynamic stretches are standing hip swing with the use of ski poles, standing trunk rotation for hockey players, and under the fence, which is the combination of side lunges and standing. Exercise 2. Static stretches. You can perform stretches starting from your upper body down to your lower body to ensure that your muscles are warmed up properly or are cooling off as necessary. The best time to perform static stretches is after your body has warmed up or after an intensive exercise. Examples of static stretching are chest and shoulder, triceps stretch, standing quadriceps, single leg hamstring, standing calf, glute stretch, and adductor stretch. Guidelines to remember. Stretching increases muscle flexibility. However, it does not mean that the more you stretch, the better is your flexibility. Take note of these guidelines while planning for your dynamic warm-up and static stretching after a workout. Tip number 1. Perform dynamic flexibility exercise before a rigorous training. Some study shows that dynamic stretching, if done right, decreases injury. Tip number 2. Do static stretching after an intensive exercise. This way you can cool down your body before resting after the exercise or training. Tip number 3. Remember that each joint has a perfect range of motion. Do not overstretch. Avoid stretching a cold muscle. Tip number 4. Perform stretching and flexibility exercise with someone or other people so that they can see whether or not you are performing the warm-up exercise right. Chapter 5. Exercises for strength and power improvement. Coaches give their athletes strength exercises at least once a week. In fact, most of an athlete's training time is devoted to strengthening the core muscles. Most coaches believe that core training greatly improves the performance of an athlete in all aspects. Many experts say that a combination of power and strength in muscles will make an athlete better. Power alone or strength alone may contribute, but a combination is a powerful combination. What are strength and power? Some say strength and power mean the same, but these two fitness factors in exercise have two different meanings. Power refers to the ability of an athlete to create a force or movement with speed. It requires strength and speed to create a force. On the other hand, strength in muscles means the force a muscle needs to move an external load. Speed is not an important factor. Calories burned. The calories burned during an extensive workout differ from person to person and depend on the manner of the training, the length of the training, and the type of muscles you use in each routine. Approximately, you can burn at least 100 to 500 calories. Basically, the more you work out, the higher the calories are burned. However, such is not the case all the time. Ironically, an aerobics exercise may burn more calories than that of an intensive core strength exercise. But it does not mean you have to stick to aerobics, since this exercise may not address or help you with your goals as an athlete. The best exercise to improve strength and power. There are so many exercises that can help you improve power and strength in your core muscles. Here are the best ones that you can use in your training. You can do it alone or with a trainer to make sure you are executing the exercises right, especially on exercises that require lifting heavy objects. Exercise 1. Weightlifting. Usually, powerlifters benefit from this exercise, but other athletes could also use this as part of an intensive training. Despite the claims that it is bad for the back, it is still one of the best strengthening exercises. For it to work, you need to lift heavy objects, such as barbells. Examples of weightlifting are deadlift, Romanian deadlift, row exercise, and dumbbell inclines. Deadlift involves the lifting of a barbell or any heavy object off the floor with one fluid movement. You can execute a deadlift using varied forms. Romanian deadlift is one variation that uses a squat form to lift a barbell or dumbbells. Rack pull deadlift is a variation where the barbell is slightly elevated. This is good for building the muscles in the upper back and traps. Sumo deadlift refers to the lifting of a heavy barbell using the sumo stance. Clean and jerk is also a weightlifting exercise. However, powerlifter athletes usually are the ones who engage in this type of training. If you want to include it in your exercise routine, make sure that a trainer supervises you, especially if you are not a professional powerlifter. Dumbbell inclines, on the other hand, is a weightlifting exercise that requires you to lie down while you lift up and down the dumbbells with your arms. This exercise removes the pressure in the back, especially if you are having a hard time lifting objects off the floor. Proper maneuvers for a deadlift. Deadlift is a good core strengthening exercise. However, you must correctly execute it to gain the best results. Your stance must be hip-width apart, same as a squat, but narrower. Your feet must be firmly planted on the floor, where your toes are at a 15-degree angle. Your arms, front view, must be vertical, but slightly inclined from the side view. Your lower back must be neutral, but not straight, and not too curvy. Relax your shoulders. Your grip must be apart, same as the width of your shoulders. Chest up to avoid rounding your back. Lock your elbows before and during the pull. While lifting the bar, do not look up and do not look at your feet. Just look straight ahead. Pull slowly and do not jerk the bar off the rack or off the floor. Take a deep breath, hold it for a few seconds, and exhale once you lift the bar and touch it to your shins. Between repetitions, do not bounce. While lifting the bar, do not roll your shoulders or shrug them. Just relax. During lockout, do not lean back once you've lifted the bar completely. What are the muscles this exercise works? You need 5 muscle groups to complete a weightlifting exercise. In gripping the bar, you are strengthening your arms and grips. As you lift the bar, your triceps and biceps help in maintaining the position. During a deadlift, your abs supports your lower back. With proper diet and constant execution of weightlifting exercise, your abs will become prominent. Traps, short for trapezius muscle, contract to keep your shoulders in place. Your shoulder and chest muscles also help in executing the deadlift. They contract due to the force of the lift. The muscles in your back and legs also contract during the lift. The heavier the lift, the stronger they become. Exercise 2. Squats. Squats work the hips and hams, legs and glutes, short for gluteus maximus. Combined with weights, you are working your traps and arms too. Properly executed, you would be lifting the stress off your knees. Performing squats has a lot of variations. You can use 1 or 2 variations and include them in your weekly routine. The regular squat involves the use of your body weight. You stand straight, legs apart, and sit until your thighs are parallel to your knees. For variation, you stand, squat, stand, and jump. Another variation is the pistol squat. You lift one leg slightly up and squat while one leg is still raised. Hold the position for a few seconds and stand. Repeat the process of your desired repetitions. The other variations are using light weights to execute a squat, either a dumbbell or a weight plate. Some of the variations, such as the pistol squat, are also good balance exercises. Proper maneuvers of a squat. Your back must be neutral. While in a squat position, make sure your feet are firmly planted on the floor. Do not lean over or lean back. Legs must be shoulder width apart, not too narrow and not too wide. Exercise 3. Lunges. Lunges have 3 variations. These are front, backward, and side lunges. This exercise strengthens the quadriceps, hams, and glutes. It tones your inner and outer thighs. Side lunges improve balance, while backward lunges enhance coordination. Proper execution of lunges. Properly done, lunges do not put a strain on your knee joints. For forward lunges, keep your upper back straight, chin up, and shoulders relaxed. Do not look down. While doing the lunges, contract your abs for better results. Step forward while lowering your hips and bending your knees. To complete the execution, your knees must be bent at a 90-degree angle. Your lowered knee must not touch the floor. Hold it for a second or 2 and push back up. Be aware of keeping your weight on your heels as you go back to your standing position. You can do the reverse of this action to perform a backward lunge. The side lunge is almost the same with the traditional lunge, except that one leg is bent at the side. Exercise 4. Prowler. The prowler is actually a piece of equipment that you push or pull across the floor. You can add or remove weights, depending on your training objectives. It is one of the safest strengthening tools because of the limiting factor it offers. Once a prowler weight becomes too heavy for you, you won't be able to push or drag the sled over the floor. Prowler exercise is a conditioning tool. At the same time, it strengthens the upper and lower body parts. For some people, they use prowler exercise to add body size. Other variations also work the chest and traps. Guidelines to remember. Recovery is important in core strengthening exercise. It may take a day to a week for your muscles to recover, depending on the intensity of the training you made. Training a core muscle before it recovers may cause problems and injury. If you feel sore even after 2 days of not doing intensive core training, it is best to postpone core strengthening exercise. Better do light exercises such as flexibility stretches, balance exercise, and other exercises that do not directly train the core muscles you just exposed to intensive training. Drink lots of water and post-workout drinks to help your sore muscles recover. Eat energy-boosting diet to hasten recovery. Rest a lot. Core strength training is not an overnight result. It takes one or more training to achieve a stronger muscle core. In order to maintain what you have achieved, schedule at least one intensive training every week after your muscles have accustomed to the new training. Eventually, introduce other intensive exercises to ensure you are achieving the results you wanted. The key to core strengthening exercise is moderation. In addition, always consult your physician and your coach regarding your off-season training. Chapter 6. Endurance Exercises. Endurance or stamina is important for an athlete. With endurance, you can finish a marathon or perform a lot of event without getting tired easily in a decathlon. You can sustain your performance until the finish line. What is endurance? Endurance is your ability to withstand physical activity for a longer period of time. It is associated with cardiovascular effect in your body, wherein your heart can supply the demand of the increased and prolonged activity. Endurance training involves repetitive and continuous routines. Classic examples of endurance training are running and aerobics exercises. You can combine it with strength training, agility, or balance training to achieve optimum results. The benefits of doing endurance training. This type of exercise improves the cardiovascular aspect of your body. With endurance training, you can last longer in a sport without straining your heart and body. Even if your sport does not involve endurance or stamina, incorporating endurance exercise into your routine improves your athletic performance. With cardio exercise, you are improving the efficiency and effectiveness of your heart and the muscles in your body. Calories burned. Just like the strength training, endurance exercise burns 100 to 500 calories, depending on the intensity of your workout and the extensiveness of the routine that you do. The best exercises to boost endurance. You can use all the strengthening exercises as part of your endurance training. The difference is to perform repetitions than your usual ones. Aside from the training exercises mentioned in the previous chapter, here are the best endurance exercises that improve your cardiovascular system. Exercise 1. Running. It is one of the simplest, most used endurance exercises known on the planet. Running works the legs, glutes, and hams. It also builds the quadriceps. Running may improve your cardiovascular and respiratory system, but it does not build big muscles. If you want to increase your muscles in the upper body, you need to incorporate other core strengthening exercises. Proper maneuver for running. You do not need any equipment unless you are doing it on a treadmill. You can start running once or twice a week for 15 to 30 minutes. When you think you are accustomed to that phase, you can gradually increase the distance and the time for running. Make sure to warm up before running. Wear the right running shoes to keep your soles free of any blisters and soreness. To increase the challenge of your running exercise, include weights or run uphill or downhill. Exercise 2. Aerobics exercise. This exercise may not be as intense as the other exercises mentioned in the other chapters, but it is still a good endurance exercise. The repetitive actions and movements will certainly help you in improving your endurance and stamina. You can engage in aerobics exercises in between training when you are in recovery mode after a very intense workout. Moreover, it also contributes to enhancing your coordination. Exercise 3. Sit-ups. One of the classic exercises, this endurance exercise works the lower back and abs. 60 to 100 sit-ups every day will certainly boost endurance for an athlete. Gradually increasing the number of reps every week will help you achieve endurance results. Other variations include working the sides. The limiting factor of sit-ups is the failure to strengthen other core muscles. Thus, it is important to combine sit-ups with other exercises. Sit-ups alone do not define the muscles in your torso. You have to include other core strengthening exercises to achieve the results you want. Proper maneuvers for sit-ups. Despite being simple, a lot of athletes still forget how to execute a proper sit-up. With proper execution, you avoid hurting your back and your knee joints. Lie on your back on a firm and flat surface. Bend your knees with feet hip-width apart. Place your arms at the back of your head. Relax. Slowly lift your upper body towards your bent knees. You may sit up all the way to a sitting position or stay in a crunch position. Some experts argue that crunches develop the muscles in your torso more than a full sit-up does to this muscle group. Whichever you prefer, the important thing is you are performing the sit-ups properly to avoid hurting your neck and your lower back. Exercise 4. Push-ups. Another classic exercise is the push-up. Push-ups work the pectoralis major, triceps brachii, deltoids, and the abdominal muscles. Push-ups have many variations. These are incline push-ups, wide grip push-ups, one-arm push-ups, decline push-ups, and T push-ups. Wide grip variation is a little difficult to maneuver due to the limited mechanical advantage when pushing your body up. Your arms are wider than the standard width of push-up stance. Incline push-ups target the chest with decreased stress on the elbows. Arms are situated higher than the feet. Decline push-ups, on the other hand, work the shoulders, chest, and arms. The feet are higher than the arms, which makes it a little difficult due to the pull of gravity. It is similar to pushing up your body, upside down. The more your body is in the decline position, the harder the push-up is. One-arm push-up uses one arm alternately. It specifically targets the triceps muscles. Total body control is important to achieve this variation. For proper posture, keep your back straight. Arms are shoulder-width apart for standard push-ups. Keep your elbows as close to your body as possible. Inhale as you lower your body and exhale as you push up. Focus your eyes in front of you. Do not look at the ground. Equipment for endurance training. You can use machines to perform endurance training. Alternatively, you may just run or walk or swim to boost your stamina and endurance as an athlete. Guidelines to remember. Remember to drink lots of fluid while doing endurance training. The last thing you would want is to dehydrate your body. You'll be sweating a lot, so always keep a bottle of water handy. If you are running, drink at least 2 glasses of water before starting. Always perform dynamic warm-up before any rigorous training. At the end of the endurance training, cool down by doing stretches to relax the muscles you have used in endurance training. Chapter 4 discusses the flexibility exercises. Endurance exercises should not make you breathless that you can hardly talk. They should not trigger dizziness and chest pain. Chapter 7. Exercises to increase agility. A lot of sports require speed and agility. Examples of these sports are baseball, basketball, volleyball, hockey, and soccer. Increasing this aspect makes you a better athlete. There are ways to increase agility, combined with strength and endurance training, but first you need to understand the meaning of agility and what other factors that you would need to achieve a good training for agility. What is agility? Agility is your ability to start, stop, and change direction in as fast as you can manage in an effective and efficient manner. Other factors to consider for increasing agility are balance, strength, speed, and coordination. Balance is your capacity to retain body equilibrium while moving or resting. Strength is the ability of your body muscles to withstand resistance, such as gravity, muscle contraction, flexion, or extension. Coordination is controlling the body movements in collaboration with your senses. Speed is your ability to move your body in cooperation with what your senses and mind dictate. The benefits of agility exercise. Agility exercise improves your overall performance as an athlete and your movements in relation to your daily activities. It enhances coordination and balance. It augments your quick thinking and precision. With constant training, you are improving your body's responses to your mind. Agility exercise lessens recovery time. More often, it involves high-intensity movements. With the burst of movements, sometimes you end up with sore muscles. However, as you continue to perform agility exercises, your recovery time decreases. With stronger muscles and increased coordination, you decrease your risk of injuries in the long run. When your speed increases and your coordination skills augment, you achieve results in minimal time. For example, you can catch a ball and throw it to someone in your team in a split second. Calories burned. Based on a body weight of 150 pounds, agility exercises can burn approximately 1,000 or more calories in an hour. Due to the combined strength, intensity, and speed, agility exercise burns more calories than a pure strength exercise. Exercises for increasing agility and speed. Athletes who need agility and speed will benefit from these exercises. Sports that need agility exercises include basketball, hockey, gymnasts, and other that require sudden changes in direction. The exercises mentioned in this chapter only include horizontal and lateral training exercises. Exercise 1. Lateral plyometric jumps. As an athlete, you also need to develop agility, power, and stability in a lateral motion. This exercise helps you move from a horizontal motion as a starting point and move laterally while you jump over an obstacle. Hurdle jumpers can benefit from this type of exercise. The best time to perform lateral plyometric jumps is when you have achieved a strong coordination skill by doing agility drills and dot drills. The reason for doing so will greatly reduce the risk of injuries. With your hips, legs, and foot accustomed to agility drills, doing plyometric jumps is easier than doing it first before any other agility exercises. Proper technique. Perform the exercise after an intensive warm-up, perhaps at the end of your training program for the day. Avoid hard surfaces. Doing lateral plyometric jumps provide better results if you do it on a soft plane such as grassy area, sandy beach, or in a gym. Land your jump with a squat so that your legs and thighs can absorb whatever shocks your jumps create. Vary your landing. You can either land on one foot first or rebound in 2 feet in the next jump. First, perform small jumps. Gradually increase the height and distance of your jump. After every jump, rest for 30 seconds to a minute. Do small sets of jumps, then increase the number of your jumps every week. Exercise 2. Ladder agility drills. Ladder agility drills use a ladder where you jump in and out of it, or walk and run while changing directions. You can combine ladder agility drills with lateral jumps to create a more complex agility exercise. Your goal is to increase coordination skills and speed of changing directions. As an athlete, you need to think fast while executing a killer move that ultimately gives your team the edge of winning the game. Proper maneuvers. Before starting with a ladder agility drill, plan the patterns you would be doing. For a better training strategy, ask someone, your coach or your co-athlete in the team, to shout out the pattern for you. You may even combine endurance and strength exercises with ladder agility drills by performing push-ups on ladder spaces. When you push your body up, you lift your body and change the spaces where your hands land. Aside from a ladder, you can use tires, cones, or any obstacles that are available. Exercise 3. Dot drills. Dot drill is an exercise where you move from one dot to another using a dot drill mat and a specific pattern. The dot drill mat may contain as few as 5 dots to as many as 10 dots. This exercise improves foot speed and coordination while remembering the pattern. Proper maneuvers for dot drills. The best place to do a dot drill is a gym. However, if you plan to do it in an outdoor area, make sure that the area is flat. You can either make your own dot drill mat or buy it online. You may follow a pattern or create your own. For a more challenging drill, blindfold your eyes so you won't be tempted to look down the dots. While doing this, ask someone to supervise your drill and see if you are landing on the correct dots. Alternatively, ask another athlete for a little competition and see who finishes first. Guidelines to remember. Whenever you feel tired or your movements have slowed, it is time to stop the agility training. Remember, you are training for speed, which means you have to train smart, not hard. It is recommended to rest for 48 hours in between intensive agility training. This is to give time to your reflex muscles and central nervous system to cope with the strenuous activity. Always consult your physician before incorporating any intensive exercise regime to ensure that you do not injure yourself during the process. Ask your coach to assess if you have made improvements in your agility and speed. If there's one person who will recognize the change in your performance, it would be your coach. Whether your coach has seen your training session or not, let your coach assess your progress. If your coach's assessments are not good, do not be discouraged. Keep doing what you are doing. Better yet, ask your coach for any suggestion or improving techniques to help you with your training session. Chapter 8. Exercises for Balance Development. Balance has two types, static and dynamic. Static balance is your ability to maintain equilibrium while at rest, while the dynamic balance is your ability to maintain stability while moving. With proper training, you can improve your balance and eventually improve coordination. Your body has a natural sway due to the constant adaptation of your different senses to internal and external triggers. This natural sway refers to the proprioceptive sense that everybody experiences. It is one of your senses. It refers to the ability to sense movement and body position. The other senses that make up the proprioceptive sense are eyes, ears, and the nervous system. With these senses, they form the balance of the body and help you move in a coordinated fashion with your arms and legs. The benefits of doing balance exercise. It is one of the essential fitness components that athletes should develop. With balanced body, you significantly improve your performance as an athlete. Aside from increased coordination, balance training helps you prevent injuries by increasing awareness of the senses and the muscles that affect equilibrium. With balance tests, you learn your weaknesses and know how to address them properly. Balance training helps you prepare for that quick lunge. It also helps increase agility. With a more balanced movement, you can execute a movement smoothly and accurately. Calories burned. Depending on the intensity of the exercise and your body weight, you can burn a minimum of 200 calories. Exercises that improve balance. There are two types of balance training, static balance training and dynamic balance training. Static balance training may involve standing on one leg, blindfolding your eyes to feel the sway in your body. Exercise 1. One-legged and two-legged balance. It is as simple as standing on one leg or blindfolding your eyes to as complex as performing dot drills using one foot at a time. This exercise may involve static or dynamic training. To make this drill interesting, jump in 2 foot and land on 1 foot or vice versa. You may even include obstacles. Alternatively, use a jump rope to test your balance when jumping on 1 foot. Exercise 2. Stability ball and sit-ups. Instead of lying on the ground, you use a stability ball to do the sit-ups. Controlling the ball and performing the sit-ups at the same time make this exercise even more challenging than the ordinary sit-up. Exercise 3. Pilates exercise. It is based on the principle of correcting posture and healing injuries for elderly people. However, with tailored programs, you can improve your posture and balance. This exercise may need the help of an expert if you want to address specific problems with your balance. Alternatively, you can use Pilates tutorial video to perform some of the basic exercises. Equipment for balance training. Balance exercise may be performed with other tools to make it more fun. Balance board or balance cushion are examples of tools that you can use to improve your balance, aside from just using your feet or closing your eyes. Guidelines to remember. When doing balance exercises, remove objects that may injure you when you lose your balance. Never perform death-defying exercises just to prove to yourself or to others that you have excellent balance skills. Avoid training with rigid footwear. Use shoes that enhance the contour of your feet so that you feel how your feet react with your training. Balance training is a complementary exercise on top of the other exercises you do in a week. Do not just focus your time on developing balance. Perform this exercise in between intensive strength and endurance workout. To monitor your progress, find a training buddy who is honest and as dedicated as you are. Chapter 9. Training Habits for an Athlete. One of the concerns an athlete usually has is how often the training should be. As an athlete, discipline is an important aspect of training. If you are a serious one and want to improve your performance, building the habit of training yourself, even off-season, should be one of your priorities. As an athlete, you want to keep fit, agile, strong, and powerful. Here are winning habits that you should maintain, whether you are young or a veteran athlete. Eat right. Many athletes are guilty of poor eating habits. It is okay to indulge yourself eating burgers and fries after a game. However, do not make it a habit. To obtain optimum results, eat healthy and right. Never skip breakfast or any meals of the day. Your body needs more energy to burn. Eat 3 nutritious meals every day and small meals in between to keep up with the physical activity of your body. You should eat food that slowly releases energy into your muscles. Avoid eating too much cholesterol. If you are putting on lean muscles, eat foods that are high in protein, limit carbs, and minimize fatty foods. Do not make any excuses. If you are one of the athletes who find alibis to postpone training, stop it right now. Excuses do not make you a winner. They would lead you to nowhere. If you really want to succeed, make it a habit of finding a way to train instead of the other way around. Eventually, you will see the results of your perseverance. Do not mind other people raising their brows because you are training off-season. Instead, commit yourself to constant training and in finding ways to improve your current performance. Moreover, be willing to accept any suggestions from your coach or co-teammates. If you think you are doing it right, try doing one of the suggestions to see if anything changes. Keep training. Injuries are one of the many alibis that athletes turn into when they do not want to train. Perhaps an injury is a valid reason, but not enough to keep postponing your training. There are other ways to train. If your feet sustain injuries, then exercise your arms and upper body. The key here is to maintain an exercise, albeit being light. Besides, keeping the other parts of your body active, despite your injury, may even hasten your recovery. Exercise releases chemical reactions in your body that heal torn muscles or mend broken bones. Failure makes you stronger. Some athletes stop training because they fail for the first time. Whenever you feel frustrated because you are too slow, keep training. Use your failures to find ways in circumventing your weaknesses. Each workout you do should push you to the limit. If you did not achieve the results you want, try again until you succeed. Focus on the outcome instead of wallowing and grieving in your failures. Be optimistic too. Competing in a sport is very stressful, and sometimes you experience losses. With optimism, you can move on easily and will try to seek ways to overcome the specific factor that made you fail the competition. Remember, it really pays to be a winner, not just once, but all the time. The feelings of elation overcome the many hardships and failures you might have experienced during your training days. Never lose yourself to the politics of training and sports. There are so many conflicting theories on how to do this and that. Be open-minded with everything that goes on around you. When your coach says that certain training is bad for you because your coach hates the advocates of such training, do not let it hinder you in trying it. During the competition, be sociable, even to your competitors. Smile and treat them nice, just as you treat a friend or acquaintance. Indeed, it is a competition, and that you should consider them enemies. However, you would be leaving a bad impression to other people, athletes or not. Lastly, enjoy your training. Do not take it too seriously. Always give yourself a room for improvement. With this attitude, you won't feel depressed whenever you fail. Chapter 10. Training, Visualization, and its Benefits. Visualization for athletes is an important part of training. It may not directly affect the physical aspect of training, but visualization or meditation training, at least once a week, keeps the mind alert. It also provides an insight into how your body works and recovers after a training session or an injury. If you are imagining that you can lift that bar with minimum effort, you are using visualization. Whether you admit it or not, you have used imagination or imagery to help you finish a training session or spur you to the finish line. Benefits and disadvantages of visualization. Physically, visualization does not do anything. What it does is build your confidence and experience. It makes your mind peaceful. Visualization conditions your mind what to expect from the real thing. What the mind says that you are capable of doing, your body follows. However, if you devote too much time visualizing without any actual practice, you are forfeiting the purpose of the imagery. You might even harm your body by exposing to activities that you cannot do. To avoid this, ensure that you are doing the visualization right. Proper techniques for visualization. For a first-timer, perform visualization with an expert or skilled practitioner. It will help you establish the difference between an imagination and a creative visualization. Although these two are closely correlated, there is a slight difference when you know what you are doing. Sit in a comfortable place, but not your bedroom. Let your body be relaxed, but still aware of your surroundings. Your goal is to visualize, not sleep, during the process. Never visualize in an empty or full stomach. A growling stomach may disrupt your concentration. On the other hand, a full stomach relaxes your body and may make you sleepy. Perform visualization exercise at least twice a week for 5 to 15 minutes to condition your mind and body. After visualization, always do what you have visualized in reality. You would know what to expect and determine how different it is when you do something in actuality. Always end your visualization with a positive image. Your goal is to feel good of a training session before it starts. Be honest and practical too. Imagining that you can do it, whatever the circumstances, will give you more harm than the benefit. For an instance, you have a slight injury, and you visualize that your injury will be gone after a week. Common sense dictates that it won't be like that. For a severe injury, you would need at least a month to recover. Visualization helps your mind to think that you will heal and not to heal faster. It removes any negative feeling. Always focus on your breathing every time you lose the image you are visualizing. If the imagery is not going as you want it to be, simply open your eyes and take a deep breath. Start all over again. Lastly, visualization is not a substitute. Do not use it as an excuse to stop your training. Remember, excuses do not make you a winner. This has been Mind Gym, the best exercises to aid true athletes. Written by Vance Avery. Narrated by Sam Slidell. Copyright 2017 by Vance Avery. Production copyright 2017 by Vance Avery. Mind Gym, Training and Thinking with the Mind of an Ace Athlete. Written by Vance Avery. Narrated by Sam Slidell. Introduction. Do you dream of becoming a professional sports star, but you're not sure where to begin? Are friends and family members routinely doling out advice on how to build your athletic career with no experience or qualifications of their own? Skip the well-meaning but fundamentally lacking advice of those closest to you and make the commitment to training both your body and mind in becoming an ace athlete. Ace athletes are professionals who have household name. Non-sports lovers know them. carved a niche in professional sports. Like any learned skill, whether it be professional or hobby, becoming an ace athlete takes both innate talent and a want to study and further education. They already have the talent. They need the guidance to take talent to the next level, achieving permanence in the sports world and permeability to the mainstream. Not just win one competition, be a lifelong champion in the arena and in life. Ace athletes recognize the importance of winning this game, this hour. They want to transcend time, to become relevant for eternity, have meaning, win at life. This guide will reveal secrets to becoming an ace athlete in mind, body, and spirit. The techniques inside will enable you to embrace the lifestyle of an ace athlete and set you on a path to realizing your dream. More to being a super athlete than winning a game. Chapter 1. The Real Athlete. When most people think of a professional athlete, they envision someone tough, trim, and equipped with the latest armamentarium of their sport, the newest running sneakers, the latest fitness tracking device, and the biggest endorsement from beverage and protein snack companies. Without these physical beacons to prove one's athletic celebrity status, most of us have a difficult time identifying what is and what makes a true athlete. There are two different subsets of athletes in the world of sports. Athletic players are people we generally associate with the notion of a sport competitor. These people are clad in the latest and greatest equipment, sponsored and endorsed by big-time corporations, and are singularly focused on one ultimate goal: win the game. While it is accurate to view these players as champions in the making, they tend to lack the depth and understanding of what an ace athlete knows to be true. Breaking into the top tier and becoming a star in the world of sports requires more than just a physical fitness and aptitude for the game. It demands an all-encompassing devotion to the lifestyle. This unique fragment of the competition sports world may be small, but their actions and knowledge are worthy of contemplation and emulation by athletic hopefuls. Becoming like these ace athletes is the true measure of success in the highly competitive and fast-paced world of top-performing players. In order to be the best in your sport, you must become an ace athlete. Ace athletes are not only highly skilled on the field, they live, eat, sleep, and breathe their game. Though constantly in and out of formal prepping and training for sports events, the ace athlete is always self-training. He understands that the calling to his game is irrevocable, and he is always in training, on and off the field. He trains hard, or he dies trying. The first step on the path to becoming an ace athlete yourself is to commit yourself to your sport. Decide that you have been called upon to live this life, and pledge your loyalty for life. The birth of an ace athlete. The instant you fall in love with a sport, the athlete within is born. It may have been when you were younger, watching football players on television, or when you joined your first soccer team in grade school. Perhaps it was after you read your first sports magazine, or when a family member took you to your first baseball game. Maybe you haven't yet pinpointed your athletic calling, but you can feel a proverbial push in such direction. You envision yourself a champion, and your imagination compels you to spend hours daydreaming about the greatness you long to achieve. The birth of an athlete is a variable and personal experience for everyone, but it is the first stepping stone on the path to an eternal place in the Hall of Fame. Some people squander their opportunity to become a prime athlete by stopping their journey here before it has really begun. Their lack of confidence in themselves and their own capabilities squelches their athletic prowess, and they are relegated to the life of a sports fan. They let their own insecurities stop them from physically becoming involved in their sport, but they are mentally devoted to the game. They are a prime example of why you must invest all three aspects of yourself, mind, body, and soul, to this dream, or you will always fall short of your ultimate goal. The sports fan who has the drive to become a real athlete will soon take the leap from admirer to player. She will begin to emulate her heroes and spend countless hours practicing and perfecting her physical capabilities. Always striving to outperform her own personal records both formally and informally, she will fine-tune the specific abilities she needs to outrival her competitors. In time, this dedication will prove worthwhile as she begins to excel in her chosen sport. Once you have begun to hone your skills and prove yourself in the world of your sport, you'll want to continue to grow your education as well as your skills in your chosen field. Always be working to acquire new and better skill sets while fostering your mind and body coordination. It is with this learned agility and competence that you will begin to mature in your game and portray yourself as a man or a woman separate from the boys or girls of your field. No longer will you be seen as a new hopeful in waiting for your mastery of speed, form, and accuracy. Instead, you will find yourself a chosen bet in the pool of contestants, even capable of imparting your learned behaviors on new aspirants. Ace athletes must be fathered. Having a coach to guide and train you through competitions is of course a piece of the method to achieve success, but it is not enough to become an ace athlete. You will need someone who is capable and invested in coaching you to a full mastery of the game. Ideally, this person will be a former or current athlete in your chosen sport, fathered at one point in time themselves by an influential player. This father will be like a battle-hardened master, armed himself with a vast wealth of knowledge and experience in his field. He is not simply good or even great at the sport. He is the quintessential athlete and coach, both on and off the field. He has participated in his sport so often over his lifetime that he intimately knows every inch of the arena, the field, and his equipment, making him a most valuable asset for the athlete in training. He knows precisely what it means to be on the field, directly where the action is taking place. He understands from his experience that every event is live, that anything can and will happen, and no pattern or formula can completely prepare you for the split-second decision-making a successful ace athlete must learn to do. This is decidedly where training with a true master of the sport will be so crucial to the budding athlete, understanding the game and your opponent's mindset in such detail that you can begin to predict their next move before they are even aware of it themselves. Learning to anticipate the split-second judgment of others during a high-intensity competition is an invaluable skill in the realm of athletics, and achieving a true mastery can only be expected with the experience and guidance a high-quality coach will provide. So where do you find such a coach? Someone who will not stop at merely coaching you to win a game or a tournament or even a season, but who will become personally invested in you, their prodigy. Most people envision a coach as a high school physical education teacher or perhaps someone who used to play a sport recreationally in the past. While both options can provide some valuable insight into the sport, it is not uncommon for them to become a hindrance to a trainee's success. Neither of these examples are true masters of their sport, and their knowledge, however correct and precise it may be, tends to be strictly by the book and limited to the tangible. They can help you achieve proper form or understand the details of the game, but oftentimes they lack the experience to guide you in becoming instantly adaptable during any game day situation. With his deluge of knowledge and experience, this father trainer patiently develops his prodigies to perpetuate his own calling even after he is gone by becoming fathers themselves and passing down their learned knowledge to new prospects in the game. True champions are sculpted and developed through the transfer of wisdom and skills from coach to trainee, and not by undirected talent, no matter how great. You cannot expect to train yourself or by yourself and rise to the level of champion. Likewise, you cannot expect to be trained by an amateur or by anyone other than a champion themselves and still reach this goal. You must draw on the knowledge and experience that can only be gathered from someone who has been in the position before, has the correct knowledge, made the right choices, and clawed their way to the top. This person is akin to your lighthouse on the shore of a dark, turbulent sea, pointing you in the direction for success and warning you of the dangers and mistakes that can be so easily made. It is imperative that, on your journey to becoming a champion, you fully understand the distinction between a competitor or a player and someone who is a true ace athlete. The person who used to play a sport may have interesting stories and even some advice that he has picked up during his years of mostly self-taught study. He may read books about a sport or maybe has won awards over the years for his participation. Conversely, an ace athlete is like a son. He has been fathered by a champion who instills in him a complete and exhaustive comprehension of the game, the mindset needed to win, and a dedication to the lifestyle. He is not only being taught how to win, but is also being prepared to teach others one day. While a player points to worn trophies and medals as evidence of his importance and success, a true champion points to his network of mentors and trainees to prove his worth. An ace athlete not only rightfully claims to be a champion, but lives to develop champions as well. The philosophy of an ace athlete. You now understand that the drive to not only be a champion, but to also build champions is the difference that separates an ace athlete from an ordinary competitor. The quality of champions you create is dependent on the kind of champion you are. This mantra should always be at the forefront of your heart and mind. You must always be striving for perfection, to be the best version of yourself you can possibly be, so you will inspire others to be equally as dedicated. You must always be training, continually growing and learning to never compromise your own quality and the quality of the champions you aim to produce. You may wonder, how can you continue to excel and build upon your own training and the formation of others as you begin to age? You never age while training champions. Many retired athletes continue their career in training others by writing a book or even opening a gym. Here, the knowledgeable champion can bestow his wisdom and skills onto his trainees, effectively growing them into future champions. Through these alternate avenues, he is still training and excelling in his craft by educating others. These are the ace athletes who become legends, living or otherwise, by contributing to their sport during their lifetime, as well as leaving a legacy for years to come. By understanding and believing in this philosophy, you will ensure your title as a successful ace athlete. Without both pieces of your belief, your own success, and the continued success of others through you, you will not be able to cultivate the legend status that you seek. This guide will help you understand how to achieve this goal. Chapter 2. The Mind of an Ace Athlete. A belief in both the heart and mind are crucial to becoming an ace athlete. You must truly believe that you are meant to be a champion. This mindset will ignite a fiery enthusiasm in your training and performances. You are never to be satisfied with mediocre results because you are aiming to be the best. You are always equally concerned with both winning the current competition and raising the next champion to further your legacy after you are gone. Oftentimes, nationalistic countries like the United States and Russia, specifically the former USSR, will produce a breed of world-class champions like no other country. These athletes have been training tirelessly for many years, with the vision of Olympic success and greatness for their country in their minds. These competitors seem to be so fruitful because they aim to be champions themselves, with the goal in mind of bringing posterity to their country now and in the long run. These men and women generally aim to learn the secrets of their sport, making them the best candidate currently and paving the way for them to train new champions of such caliber in the future. The international athletes who display this mindset can be branded ace athletes. They begin their training under a master of their sport. They excel and beat records, even their own. They eventually become champions, and then they themselves begin training other up-and-coming athletes. However, not every international competitor is of the same mindset. Some are rather nearsighted, focusing only on their present situation and present goal, to win this game, bring home this medal, and become a champion this season. Once they successfully complete this goal, they return to their home countries to celebrate and retire. These winners may have even trained underneath real champions. They train hard and train to win, but they lacked the foresight to really put the ace athlete's sportsman philosophy into practice. This mindset has a number of foundational components. You are not your own. You are not in training or even competing to build your own ego and fulfill your own dreams. It is not a singular purpose. You are on a corporate mission. Others have paved the way for you, and you will continue to blaze a trail for other champions who follow. Your trainer who fathered you, your trainees who have become your proverbial sons, and even the generations that came before and those that will continue after are all interconnected and dependent on you maintaining a level of excellence and dedication. This lineage has been lengthening with each successful generation of champions. Somewhere back in the line, an athlete mastered his chosen sport. He became a champion with a style all his own and effectively produced a secret formula of tricks and skills that led him to the great success he found. After his run was up in the competitive sports world, he began to select and train a new set of would-be champions. These new champions excelled, using the teachings of their master, and did in fact become champions themselves, possibly greater than their own trainer. This pattern has continued, and soon it became your turn to learn how to excel in your sport, and it will soon become your mission to pass down your knowledge of success to the next generation of athletes. The purpose of this transfer of knowledge is to continue to foster a particular style of success and winning in the field. This style differential is evident throughout every sport. Each nation, whether it be Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, or Thai, all have various styles of playing and strategies for winning in sports, no matter how closely their cultures may or may not be connected. Throughout the generations of masters and trainees, the style is fine-tuned. It develops and evolves, taking new forms as it becomes more and more expertly crafted with each new batch of champions. The style and skills of the sport are continually updated to meet the ever-changing demands of the evolving sport, the changing arena, and the fluctuations in style of other competitors. For this reason, you can appreciate how the culling of a true sportsman is a joint effort, a collective of individual champions and trainees through a lineage of the sport, all working together throughout the generations for the goal, to leave a legacy of success. This is evidenced by viewing, for example, a basketball team who competed 10 years ago and comparing their style to the new members of the team today. They frequently display similar competitive styles, and the link between them is evident through the manifestation of their training and skills. Another notable example can be understood through the study of boxing styles from various countries and regions. Often there may be a group of boxers with a similar training who rise through the competitive ranks to become undefeated for a number of seasons, in part due to their training heritage. Eventually, another group of fighters from a separate region will then adapt their skill set as a response to the reigning champions, and a new group of ace athletes is born. These are real-world examples of how crucial it is in becoming a champion to both cooperate with others as well as commit to your sport culture and lifestyle. Embrace the whole sport, its culture and history. An ace athlete not only wants to correctly and excellently play the game, adhering to all rules and regulations, but also wants to absorb the sport and its history, incorporating it into his lifestyle. In this way, the sport becomes a part of his person. He identifies with it, embodies it within his body and spirit, and becomes a champion physically and mentally through the sport. This dedication is evident in the participation of Eastern sports like karate, judo, and taekwondo by Western athletes. These competitors often behave in accordance with their Eastern counterparts. They adopt similar traits of discipline and patience, and adopt physical characteristics of the sport, including battle cries, traditional garb, and language. True champion players will commonly embrace the culture of their sport, incorporating and adopting its nuances into their lives. Religions, philosophies, arts, even the diet and language of their sport's respective birthplace. Some champions will even design their living and training quarters around a style or influence from their sport. It is even beneficial for an athlete to visit the culture of his chosen sport so that he may feel firsthand its influence on everyday life. These additions and modifications to their lifestyle have one ultimate purpose: to fully embrace his sport, enabling him to become the champion he knows himself to be. Some sports are closely related to their culture of origin and history. You must understand the background to fully appreciate the beauty of the sport and its influence in modern-day culture. Picture a fencing competitor who studies the historic styles of his sport from France, Spain, and England. He desires to understand the origin of his sport and the specifics of its practice throughout time and location to expand upon his skills today. Additionally, it is not uncommon for an American baseball or football star to visit the birthplace of their hero, perhaps even their trainer, or the specific location of his great feats, to absorb the influential power these places may hold. These trips and physical incorporations are indeed beneficial to appreciating and becoming positively influenced by your sport. However, the most important principle of this foundation is that you commit to becoming so dedicated to your training that you become educated on the why and how of your sport's background and development. This information can become invaluable to a player by contributing to the understanding and appreciation of the evolving mechanics and technology that has molded the sport into the game you practice today. This knowledge of pertinent historical information must be sought. It will not become apparent to those who merely play the sport rather than live it. To provide an example of the importance of such knowledge, we can examine the ancient sport of karate. This art form, turned sport, was developed by the Satsuma and Shimatsu clans of Okinawa, the Ryukyu Islands, sometime during the 1470s in response to the outlawing of weapons by the Japanese. These men built upon the art of hand and foot fighting originally established in China, secretly adapting its attributes to the needs and preoccupations of the Okinawans. A modern-day champion karate competitor will benefit during his training from the practice of meditating on the birth of the sport and focusing on the purpose and dire need that it was derived from. He will understand why his limbs and the limbs of the fathers and champions before him needed to be as effective and deadly as material weapons of war. It is the confidence that originates from these long-held beliefs of karate that influence many athletes of a variety of sports to invest time in cross-training in the art of karate. They understand the benefit that the mindset of a karate champion can provide and desire to acquire this confidence and body coordination that will enable them to excel in their own sport. Karate can build confidence in an athlete by providing the understanding that if you are excellent when empty-handed, you will be invincible with the addition of your weaponry. In the sport of boxing, fighters are always training to perfect their knockout punch. During the 5th century BC, a Roman boxing and wrestler named Milo was the reigning champion during the peak of the empire. He was without a doubt the most notable boxer of his time, and legend has it, was able to carry whole calves as a boy and even grown cows as a man. He could kill a cow with one blow perfectly aimed and executed. Of course, in modern sport boxing, you do not have the intent to kill your opponent with such a use of force, but you do want to understand precisely how to develop an effective, single-action knockout punch. In viewing the entire sport and its requirements, you can appreciate that cross-training in various athletic subsets like weightlifting, running, shadow boxing, and kickboxing will all aid in your desire to become a fighting champion. Having a singular mindset focused only on boxing would derail your aspirations and leave you unprepared in other aspects of the sport. You must understand and appreciate the benefits of a well-rounded athlete in any sport. Continuing our examination of boxing, we can study the birth of sport boxing in Egypt around the time 4000 BC. During this era, boxing gloves were simply made of a thin layer of leather that draped over the hands, arms, and elbows. This enables us to infer that boxing is not solely dependent on the hands for success, but understanding the techniques that incorporate the forearms and elbows will only benefit your capabilities. In this way, you can begin to understand that becoming truly competent in any sport requires more than a singular focus on one facet of training. You cannot become a champion boxer by focusing only on your hands any more than a renowned brain surgeon can become proficient by the study of theory alone. You must intertwine theory and knowledge with practice, including your entire body and mind, in your training. In ancient Greece, as evidenced by the 23rd book of the Iliad, we see examples of athletes literally sacrificing life and limb for glory in sporting events. Could there be a more solid indication of true dedication and commitment to the sport than this? These people truly believed that the life and training of an athlete was worthy of complete devotion, and faithfully dying for their sport was a sacrifice to be expected. Of course, you were certainly not expected to literally die for your sport or the entertainment of fans, but figuratively giving your life over to your sport is a true indication of absolute commitment that will enable you to realize your dream of becoming a true champion. There is always room for improvement. While it is assuredly important that you are both proud and thankful for your skills now, it is equally as vital to avoid being caught in the trap of maintaining the status quo. Constantly improving and building upon your current skills is vital to achieving and maintaining an ace level of athletic performance. Every morning you must dedicate yourself to your training. Every day you are aware that your goal is to beat your previous personal record. Yesterday was yesterday, and today is a new day. If you had a great training session yesterday and you set new records or perfected new skills, wake this morning with the understanding that yesterday is behind you. Right now you are no better than yesterday, and that is not how a champion is born. You celebrated your accomplishment for 24 hours, and now you begin again today with nothing, striving to earn your victory for this day. Conversely, you will occasionally find yourself, as all athletes do at one time or another, in the grasp of a plateau in your training. While common, a plateau must be noticed, evaluated, and strategically broken through to continue to ascend to the top level of skill. Don't let a less than desirable day or a short plateau completely overtake your dedication or derail your path to ultimate success. Each new day you must begin again when you wake, putting the successes or failures of yesterday out of your mind today in search of a new level of greatness. The sentiment, room for improvement, is often thrown around when a player's performance is in need of some fine-tuning. Understand this idea as an encouragement rather than a kind insult, as it may have even been directed. This phrase is pertinent to every single athlete, from those just getting started to the top players and trainers of the field. There is always the capability to improve upon the skills you have today to make you a better player and mentor tomorrow. This understanding of true humility benefits an ace athlete through the ability to humbly accept his own weakness. When you are able to perceive your own shortcomings, despite your victories, you can avoid the trap of pride, which can quickly thwart your aspirations of greatness. Pride can be a hindrance to ultimate success. The athlete that allows his pride to inflate his ego to a tipping point can become blind to his own needs and weaknesses. He is lured into a false sense of security that he embodies perfection, easily spoiling a performance, especially on an important game day. Confidence is not equivalent to pride and is a vital component of the ace athlete's psyche. Confidence allows you to accept your current weaknesses and limitations while performing at your top ability. It enables you to give your all during a competition with the understanding that you will become a better player after the event, despite the outcome. There is no one on this earth who has reached a level of perfection that they are immune to improvement. This is a human quality. Perfection will never be fully achieved, and there is always room for improvement in everything. Acceptance of this basic human condition will prevent you from the pitfalls of complacency that can often besiege those who allow pride to blind them to their weakness. Resting too long on their pedestal of achievement while others continue to train to surpass their skill level. Triumph deserves celebration, but victory does not eliminate weakness. Winning does not equal perfection. It is a combination of dedication, skill, talent, and luck. Even an undefeated champion must stop his celebration and examine his performance, continuing to sculpt his craft if he hopes to maintain his winning streak. To evidence this principle in the real world, we can look to renowned boxer Muhammad Ali during the 1970s. At one time, Ali had a weak jaw as a result of a debilitating smash and jab from opponent Ken Norton. Muhammad Ali tended to this weakness and shortly became invincible once again, proving to his contenders that his once frail jaw was weak no more. Another instance of continual personal monitoring for improvement is the story of super featherweight division champion Manny Pacquiao, who was famous for his devastating left punch known as a southpaw. Although he was by all accounts a champion, he identified a weakness in his right punch and understood that it left him vulnerable to his opponents. He tirelessly trained his weaker side until both of his hands were capable of delivering explosive punches that have been compared to dynamite. Another advantage that a constant search for improvement will provide is a drive to conquer weakness. You've seen how the acceptance of a weakness and vulnerability was the first step to improvement for Muhammad Ali and Manny Pacquiao. But without being impervious to pride, neither of them would have had the enthusiasm and dedication to accept their weaknesses and ultimately conquer them. Accepting your weakness is the first step, but you must use your drive for greatness to ignite improvement. You must move forward in your training to turn your weakness into strength. Some competitors fail to see the importance of this step, instead attempting to hide their weakness from their opponents. This may be effective for a period, but your lack of skill will soon become apparent to a worthy opponent, and they will fine-tune their skills and methods to prey upon your weakness. For instance, professional chess players frequently find themselves in a position where they are willing to sacrifice a lower priority playing piece to a more valuable chessman. Sometimes they rely heavily on these strategies, and their opponents notice a pattern. They counteract this maneuver by devising a trap for the queen and other relevant pieces before their opponent can reevaluate his strategy and alter his methods. In this example, the original player could have benefited by taking the time to study and perfect other methods of winning that relied on alternate playing pieces. In this way, he could have camouflaged his strength by putting an equal emphasis on all board pieces, diverting his opponent's attention away from his ultimate strategy and only revealing his plan at the time of execution. Another real-world example of this is the ease of spotting a forehand or backhand tennis player. When you favor one over the other by, say, frequently using a right forehand when returning a serve, your opponent will very quickly pick up on this and alter their game to fire his shots to your left side. He will take note of your struggle in returning these left-handed serves and will take delight in attempting to fire all his shots to your extreme left, where the ability to use your right forearm will be non-existent. He will send to you a rapid succession of returns to your weak side until he has overtaken your score to win the match. Or maybe your opponent serves you with a topspin on multiple occasions, and you fail to return the ball each time. Perhaps he delivers several powerful swings, returning the ball to the back of your court, where you have become comfortably settled, anticipating that he will continue to deliver such hits. If he is a skilled champion, he knows what he is leading you to believe about the game before you even realize the plan he has concocted. His next move will undoubtedly be to bunt the ball, sending it just inches past the net, leaving you dashing in vain to connect with the return. As a final example to demonstrate this point, we can look to the game of basketball. Regardless of your skill level, if you only use your right or left hand to dribble, pass, and shoot the ball, your reign of basketball champion will be undoubtedly cut short. Your competition will swiftly take notice of your favorite side and begin to accurately predict your next move, allowing them to intercept and interrupt your ball handling. Both right and left hand must be equally strengthened and trained to become a true champion. Skills you utilize most are usually your strengths, and those you seldom use or use as a last resort can be identified as your weaknesses. Take the time to evaluate each category and prepare to build upon your current skills. Even if you feel your skills are exemplary, a true athletic champion will never be caught resting on his laurels. He is always looking one step ahead of where he's at and willing to put in the effort it takes to transcend to the next level. Unleash your limitless potential. The final foundational component of an ace sportsman's philosophy is the player's self-held belief that he is an asset to both his team and his sport as a whole. He vehemently believes that his potential is waiting to be accessed, to be fostered, and drawn out through his exhaustive and comprehensive training with someone who has mastered the sport. His capabilities lie dormant, like the flesh of a fruit covered by a skin that must be peeled away in order for the fruit to realize its true potential, to become edible. The thick exterior covering hides the sweet edible fruit within, and once removed, the true purpose and essence of the fruit finally appears. The scrumptious meat of the fruit nourishes those who take the time to expose it, while the seeds of the fruit can be removed and cultivated to extend the fruit's legacy and provide bountiful harvests for years to come. An ace athlete knows that within his exterior physique lies a champion. Through his training and dedication, he sculpts his physical body to resemble the beliefs he knows to be true in his mind. He strips away any physical hindrance that could impede the cultivation of his skills until gradually the champion in him fully emerges. Now he can reproduce himself within others by prompting them to draw on their own potential for greatness. The mere desire to win may enable you to become a champion for a finite time. This mindset will produce a temporary winner, someone whose immeasurable potential has not yet been identified and fostered into a lifelong champion. Your latent potentials will only be discovered once you understand and commit to your legacy of lifelong relevance and greatness, aside from the presence of competition. Some athletes sabotage their search for limitless potential by becoming singularly focused on becoming what they falsely understand a champion to be. They want to prove that they are the best, even competing against teammates to convince others of their talent and validate their need to be seen as individually responsible for victory. They wholeheartedly believe that without their presence, triumph would not have been possible. This obsession with winning in order to validate one's own self is not a quality of a true ace athlete. It is purely a selfish obsession, both destructive and greedy. It undermines teamwork because the sole motivation is to prove, I'm the best. This obsession can produce winners and overall wins for the team, but the false champion it produces is often the kind of player that is disliked by many. These people will attempt to make every score for their team, working very hard, but in turn becoming very demanding, hot-headed, and manipulative. They treat their teammates as background props for the show in which they hold the lead role, or oftentimes in their mind, the only role. These obsessed players will have no loyalty but to their ego. They approve of anything that will make them stars. Basketball is often considered a breeding place for obsessed players. It is common for one player to promote himself as forward, guard, referee, and even scorer all at the same time. These players would even take on the role of audience if they could, applauding all of their own feats. This obsession to prove self-worth is one of the more notable signs of immaturity, and this behavior can hardly be associated with the persona of an ace athlete. Ace athletes work for the common good. They will disperse all of the prestige they receive to their team, school, or country. They may prove that the style or technique of their father trainer is better than the rest, but they will never compete with selfish intentions. They will not claim to be the best because they work diligently to accept and overcome their weaknesses, and admitting weakness is something a non-ace athlete will not do. Ultimately, the mind of an ace player never strives to prove that they are anything other than an athlete who understands he must always train hard. Chapter 3. The Body of an Ace Athlete. The majority of sports require physical capability, but even the sedentary board game sports require players to have a healthy body. The human mind functions optimally when uninterrupted by body functions gone haywire. An unfit body can lead to the proverbial headache. Thus, ace athletes know the importance of a body perfectly fit for their particular sport. Different sports require different body forms and conditionings. The muscle groups to be engaged vary with the kind of sport you are engaging in. Hence, a fit body in sports does not always equate to a lean, pure muscle build with 0% body fat. Many times, the physical requirements can depend on what weight division you belong to. Your bulky muscle mass may be perfect for bodybuilding, but you will be in real trouble if you rely on your physique to run a marathon. Your body fat proportions may be perfect for sumo wrestling, but imagine how it can hold you back in gymnastics or cycling. Your lean, well-defined, muscle-clad figure may help you excel in boxing, but not in weightlifting. So what is the perfect build for an ace athlete? The ace athlete's body. Previously, we discussed that, to most people, an athletic guy is someone who has a trim and muscular body. This may be true, but for a more appropriate definition, the ace athletic body we're referring to is one that aids the athlete in the specific sport he is engaging in. To be an athlete, you don't have to be particularly muscular or slim. It depends on what kind of game you are playing. It would be amusing to see someone who is into serious weight training use his muscles to become a chess or tennis player. It would be fruitless to train to run fast as a billiards player. Thus, you must know your game well and know the body mechanics involved so you can appropriately define the perfectly fit body and design your workouts accordingly. Sport Body Fitness Muscle Group 1. Basketball and volleyball. Semi-muscular, trim, arms, shoulders, ideal weight, back, legs, and forelegs. 2. Tennis. Lean body, right arms, shoulders, muscle tone, ideal back, forearm, weight, legs, forelegs. 3. Horse race. Lean and short, back, waist, and body, legs. From these examples, we can understand how the definition of a fit physique differs with the sport being played. Basketball and volleyball players engage in a lot of jumping. Consequently, they must develop their leg power and have weight control. Their bodies need not rely heavily on muscle because minimal muscle power is needed for ball handling and pushing and pulling actions. Some basketball players opt for extra muscle bulk and definition, especially if they play as center or guard. This extra muscle weight is tolerable in this position, but heavy muscular build is a resounding no. Tennis players do not frequently jump, but they are required to be able to make sudden body shifts that rely on explosive leg and foreleg muscle contraction and expansion. These sudden body and weight shifts, to produce sudden and constant movement during competition, require a lean body that is easily supported by the legs and hips. Unlike basketball that seldom uses an explosive arm, shoulder, and back action, with the exception of during a fast break, tennis demands constant full arm swings and circles and rigid muscle tensioning at all times, requiring much work of the shoulder and back muscles. In horse racing, the horse carries the brunt of muscle punishment, but the rider must be short and lean in order to lessen the burden on the beast. The rider also must control the horse, which requires muscle power in the arms, forearms, hips, and legs. A lean body also minimizes the shock a rider must endure when the horse is halfway down the whole stretch and galloping at full speed. The rider often has his buttocks raised from his seat to minimize shock, and his body weight plays a pivotal part in the ability to maintain this position. Being active in a sport does not always equate to building big and powerful muscles that nearly tear open your shirt. You can be smaller or larger, lean or trim, lighter or heavier than the ideal stats, and still be an ace athlete. General and specific workouts. Whatever sport you participate in, be it mainly physical or mental, you must work out to become an ace player. Even if you feel you don't really need those well-defined or bulky muscles, if you aspire to become an ace, you must work out. The workouts listed below can serve as a general checklist for anyone striving to become an ace athlete. Athletic workouts are either general or specific in nature. General workouts. General workouts may vary in intensity depending on the urgency or type of sport you are participating in. They may be heavy or light. Heavy workouts tend to include the works, weights, aerobics, and gymnastics. They are often used in preparation for an upcoming sporting event. Weights lifted by both hands must be approximately half of your total body weight to be effective. This, of course, is dependent upon how physical your sport is. For a sport that requires mostly mental stamina, like chess or billiards, it would benefit the player to regularly engage in bench presses and squats, using about 1/4 to 1/2 of his total body weight. For example, if you weigh 70 kilos, you will use 15 to 30 kilos during your training. For dumbbell training, you will use between 5 and 2 kilos in each hand. You will want to concentrate on repetitions. If your sport is mainly physical, you may want to use heavier weights. These are simply suggestions to help you understand the concept that you must be engaging in regular weight training. When training to become an ace athlete, you will want to do these things under the supervision of a competent professional with the blessing of a physician. Push-ups and pull-ups are an essential part of gymnastics. Gymnasts use these exercises during calisthenics. They can also be considered an exercise in weight training. These maneuvers are ideal for both physical as well as mentally challenging sports. They offer enough strain on your muscles to provide a result without overworking them unnecessarily. Like weight training, these up exercises are also done in sets of 4 with a number of repetitions per set. For example, you may do 30 push-ups, rest for 1 minute, and do another set of 30. Increase the number of sets as your endurance increases. Many ACE athletes are capable of doing 120 push-ups with a 1-minute rest between each 30. Aerobics is an excellent way of improving your blood circulation. Whether it be a physical or mental sport, oxygen and blood circulation throughout the body is vital. Aerobics strengthens the heart and lungs, making breath control easy, an important factor in handling emotionally stressful events. Light workouts are those in which you engage when no sports event is imminently anticipated. The intensity of your training is significantly decreased. Weights and repetitions, length of time, or distance covered is lessened. The primary goal is to continue keeping the muscles limber and to condition the body to avoid an abrupt change when the time comes to engage in heavy training for a competition. The absence of a regular light workout will result in trauma to the body once routine exercise is again resumed. A long period of dormancy after a competition is a negative factor when you begin to prepare for an upcoming event. Specific workouts. Specific workouts are geared toward body sculpting or the elimination of a certain weakness that is impeding perfection of a skill or overall performance. Specific workouts are done in addition to general workouts when ACE athletes are actively preparing for a competition. A true champion athlete will not be able to afford sacrificing either. He must have a strict schedule for all of his workouts, every day of his life, even and possibly especially when there is no imminent, impending sporting event to prepare for. There will only be variations in intensity when partaking in light workouts. To be truly valuable and beneficial, specific workouts must be guided by the mentorship of a professional, a genuine father trainer. This mentor may see it fit to improve your limbs or muscles involved with pitching a baseball, or make the twitch in the toes or ankles snappier to gain an advantage during the start of a sprint, or they may want to make the regulated pulse better when releasing a dart from your hand. Improvement of a performance doesn't happen by chance or with time. Improvement will only be realized through hard, repetitive, and specialized training. All athletes engage in general trainings. It is with specific, specialized workouts that ACE athletes are separated from their athletic player counterparts. It is generally in these specialized workouts that trade secrets are utilized and passed on by father trainers to their son trainees to be used as secret weapons, frequently deciding the fate of a competition. Examples of valuable general workouts. As we have discovered, general workouts are for every person, athlete or non-athlete, ACE or non-ACE. For an ACE athlete, a regular general workout is likened to a vehicle that is always in use. If you stop operating the car for a period of time, the parts get bogged down, resulting in diminished handling and performance. The following list contains fitness necessities for ACE athletes. Running. In order to sharpen both the mind and body mobility, regular running is imperative. It keeps muscles warmed and primed for abrupt maneuvers and keeps the mind alert as a result of the improved oxygen supply brought to the brain during cardiovascular activity. Tip: be sure to plan your running schedule in accordance with your body's tolerability. Never overwork your body to the point of exhaustion. An exhausted state will damage rather than improve your skills and health. Make sure to always wear shoes that are comfortable and supportive to your feet, ankles, and forelegs. Frequently replenish your body with fluids by drinking clean, fresh water regularly during your workout. Run where fresh air is abundant, avoiding congested traffic or manufacturing locations where there is apt to be airborne pollution. Weightlifting. The practice of lifting weights, either using barbells or your own body weight, through push-ups, pull-ups, or squats, is essential. It effectively tones the body muscle that is needed for strength and endurance. If you possess the proper proportion of muscle for your athletic requirements, and these muscles are properly stretched and ready for use, your body is certain to function as your will commands it. Tip: take care not to over or undertrain with weights. Lifting weights that are too heavy has the ability to damage your skeletal system, specifically the spine. Lifting weights that are too light, on the other hand, will not produce the needed results to support a demanding athletic performance. Generally, the weight limit you can safely and effectively lift is based on your own body weight. Bench press, doing squats with weights, and deadlifts are usually done with a weight that is either half or equal to your body weight total. Make sure your form and safety are supervised by an approved professional. Stretching. Stretching your muscles not only prepares them for a major workout, but also keeps the ligaments flexible and capable of performing as you require them to during a competition or performance. The ability to imagine your body performing the moves required of it is important, but it is certainly not enough. What good will it do for you if you understand what needs to be done, but your body refuses to comply with your requests? Flexible muscles and tendons ensure completion of maneuvers and perfection of any athletic performance. Finally, muscle stretching eliminates painful strains of muscle groups. In some cases, excessive pulls and twists of muscles can result in permanent and painful damage. Tip: don't attempt to reach full flexibility during stretching immediately. Overstretching too quickly can cause muscle and back pain that can lead to discomfort and sleepless nights, impacting your ability to perform during the day. Stretch your muscles slowly but surely, with specific intention. Don't expect to produce your desired results in one session. This general list can be customized to include other general workouts that you may feel are beneficial to your sport, but these three main activities, running, weightlifting, and stretching, must always be included in any workout program, regardless of physical demand. A quality workout program, maintained daily, will ensure the body stays in top shape during and between competition and ready to conquer any challenge at all times. Chapter 4. Life of an Ace Athlete. This may come as a surprise to many athletes, but an ace athlete not only trains for competition, but even more importantly, they live a life fit for their champion aspirations. Their lives are guided by the philosophies, rules, regimen, and motivations of someone who continues to be an ace player. In ancient Greece, during its peak years as a reigning world civilization, there were frequently sports competitions held in the city of Olympia to honor their many gods. Participants from various city-states of Greece would partake in the event, and the Spartans were notorious for their strict adherence to rigidity and discipline. These men were both dedicated sportsmen and fierce warriors. They began training in childhood, beginning with a focus on sports. Their training for sports led them to excel in the activities of running, jumping, boxing, wrestling, weightlifting, and other physical skills that are essential to a warrior. Eventually, the whole of Sparta, then a city of Laconia, became a training camp for the warriors. The citizens of Sparta were professional warriors. According to Greek history, children were removed from their families at the age of 7 and placed in strict training under state control. They were simply raised and trained in barracks, frequently enduring difficult and strenuous conditions. In the city, there was even an oval created to serve as a racetrack known as the Dromos. Here, Spartans took part in strenuous foot races and other athletic competitions. The earliest record of champion athletes traces back to this ancient Greek civilization, during the time when it was a federation of city-states. These Spartan ace athletes viewed their entire lives as a sport in training, and they saw their training as a way of life. They began their training in childhood and grew up to become competition winners as well as battle-hardened warriors. This structure of life became a state law and employed the father and son system of tutoring athletes to perfection that we aim to model today. They were so intent on producing winners, it is said that children who fell short of required physical capabilities were brought into the wilderness and left to die. In modern times, ace athletes need not train for war, nor leave incapable children to fend for themselves in the wild, but they can emulate the more positive traits of the Spartan people. They lived a life aimed at being ultimate champions. The 4 factors that influence the lives of ace athletes. The daily lives of ace athletes are founded on 4 basic elements that ensure, maintain, and improve their sportsmanship quality. 1. Life philosophy of ace athletes. A philosophy is your concept of truth about life. Every individual has their own philosophies that apply to every aspect of their own lives. You may have your individual understanding of finances, religion, family, work, leisure, and hobbies, like sports, an ace athlete does not treat their sport as this small aspect of hobby life. It is life. Viewing life as a sport is a commitment, and you must commit everything to it. In childhood, where this commitment usually begins, you realize you have a strong affinity for the game. Others around you may comment on your call to the sport. When playing, others can easily see your knack for the game. Usually in junior high school, the calling intensifies, and finally the sport infuses into your entire being, and all of life begins to revolve around it. Your college courses, future job, future wife and family, future business endeavors, future office, future residence, etc., must all fall under this career sports calling. Every decision and your general direction in life begins to be based upon your calling in this sport. Even your rights and privileges as a citizen, including your opinions and ideologies, begin to be shaped by your sports-driven outlook. You choose electoral candidates who have sports, specifically your sport, included in their political agenda because you are sensitive to issues that may impact your game, and you watch how your sport is being promoted by your local government. You also begin to envision your family in a similar way. You believe you should have an athletic wife and children, a house with a small but impressive gym, and an office where a number of your trophies and medals will be displayed, along with useful training devices. Even your family's wardrobe will be stocked with the latest in sportswear and accessories. Next, you will focus on your diet. Real ace athletes adhere to a healthy diet, not strictly for health per se, but for the benefits a healthy diet will have on their sports capabilities. They form rigid health beliefs and principles for preparing their foods, including what to eat and what not to eat. You begin to surround yourself with people of similar caliber, making them your friends and associates. You may even join clubs with a focus on your sport or befriend the shop owners where you frequently buy sports equipment. Your personal library will be stocked with books and CDs about anything and everything related to your sport, among other beneficial subjects. You keep abreast of the latest news on your sport, both locally and internationally, and even keep relevant clippings from newspapers and magazines, putting together elaborate albums of this information. This lifestyle instills in you the very heart of the sport you love. Figuratively, the sport will become you, and you will become the sport. When people in your circle encounter your sport in their conversations, they will undoubtedly mention your name. This lifestyle may sound unconventional, but it is true of a real aficionado. Ernesto Presas, a world-renowned champion and Grand Master of Japanese Kendo, Karate, Judo, and Arnis, established an enormous training resort that will include a world-class museum of martial arts. He has spent millions of dollars to promote his pet stores and train sports players to become champions. His sons and daughter have followed his example. True ace players and masters, like Presas, are not only undefeated champions for countless years during their careers, but they have become living legends, true ace athletes for life. You can physically feel the passion of an aficionado for his craft. A true book lover will have books throughout their homes, and similarly, so will stamp collectors, antique collectors, and even true animal lovers. This outlook is essential on the journey to lead the life of an ace athlete. 2. Life rules of ace athletes. Each person has their own rules that they impose on themselves. At times, we even extend these rules to people close to us. These rules that we put in place are a protection for our lives and the lives of those we deem most valuable. For instance, we instruct our children not to play with fire. We tell them this because we don't want them to be injured, and we want to protect our property from the ill effects of fire damage. Begin with the traditional don't smoke and don't drink adages, but there are some lesser-known rules that will benefit an ace athlete. These include 1. Be careful with your eyes, ears, wrists, and ankles. Abstain from activities where these important components of your body may be jeopardized. 2. Drive carefully. You don't want to acquire a serious injury to your neck, arms, legs, or other vital limbs due to an accident. 3. Never wet your eyes, arms, hands, fingers, feet, legs, or limbs when they are trying to avoid rheumatism. 4. Avoid unprotected sexual relations in order to minimize the chances of acquiring deadly blood diseases. 5. Avoid living a sedentary life. Always make it a point to engage in physical activity by taking the stairs, walking, doing things for yourself, and hiking after a full meal. Remain standing for at least 30 minutes after every meal to avoid a protruding stomach. 6. Keep your core engaged at all times to keep your stomach flat. This will firm your abdominal muscles, aside from the abdominal exercises you will complete during your workouts. 7. Always keep proper posture. This will deliver a well-proportioned body and will even burn some cholesterol in the body when coupled with an engaged core. 8. Avoid wearing tight-fitting clothing most of your day because it keeps you from easily moving around and can have a negative effect on your blood circulation. 9. Never restrain a sneeze or cough, as these are natural avenues that your body dispels foreign material like dust, viruses, etc. If you do sneeze or cough, always use a hanky or small towel to cover your mouth and nose. Learn to decline unnecessary social invitations. Never busy yourself with activities that do not further you in your quest to achieve ace sportsmanship, especially nightlife. Your main preoccupation should always be training, researching, and staying healthy. 3. Life regime of ace athletes. An ace athlete follows a routine for daily life. He completes his training schedule, which takes top priority over all else. All other endeavors take a back seat in the daily life of an ace athlete and are only considered once the daily training routine is completed. Although frequently hectic, his rigid routine does include breaks. He provides himself with periods of rest, taking pleasure walks or trips with loved ones. He meditates in order to relax his mind and body. Often he will use his downtime to watch documentaries or movies that enrich his sports knowledge or read books with similar benefits. After the limited and calculated rest, he diligently and wholeheartedly resumes his training. Ace players train and keep up their schedules, rain or shine. Only an injury or ailment will prevent them from training for a period of time. Even during this recovery time, their sport is ever present in their mind and heart. Dai Xiaolong, a black belt champion recognized by the Hall of Fame in California, was once confined to his bed as a result of a serious spinal injury in the 1960s. His physicians advised him to permanently leave his sport if he ever expected his spine to heal. For 6 months he was bedridden, fitted with a spine correction apparatus, and during this time he wrote a book, drew sketches of techniques and maneuvers, and even conceptualized a film about his sport. As soon as he felt comfortable, he began training once again, against his doctor's wishes. He was soon back in the arena, answering challenges from his top contenders. Nothing could stop this ace athlete from fulfilling his athletic call. The following is an example of a daily regimen of a popular ace boxer in the United States when he is not preparing for a competition. He awakes at 4 a.m. and runs for 2 hours, sideways, backwards, and in swift zigzag patterns. He throws hooks and jabs in different directions while running. Then he visits the gym where he lifts weights and does abdominal exercises. He shadow boxes, plays with the speedball, and works out on the punching bag. He then spars for 4 partners for a few rounds. The entire workout routine requires almost half of his day. He believes that this rigidity in training is a necessity, so that during actual combat, your body will move fluidly and obey every command you ask of it. Your own will both judges and concludes situations, and your body must be able to immediately respond when your mind sees, decides, and commands it. An ace chess player must compete against various challengers regularly, as well as study the moves of popular players and opponents from previous competitions. While he masters his craft, he must also learn to control or hide his temper, excitement, irritation, impatience, and nervousness, because revealing these emotions to his opponent may be to his disadvantage. If his foe is able to discern what irritates him, he may capitalize upon those things to interfere with your focus during a match. A mastery of maneuvers and self-control, including the ability to perfect your poker face, takes a long amount of time and daily practice, and the right workouts will keep you healthy and free from the detriments of illness. 4. Life motivations of ace athletes. What runs your life? What whets your appetite for life? What can motivate you to partake in something out of the ordinary? If you are not an ace athlete, selfish ideologies or fear would likely be the motivating factor. Let's look at some examples of improper life motivations for ace athletes. 1. Fear of making mistakes. This is among the top incorrect motivators for many people from all walks of life. Most people are determined to do their best because they are terrified of making a mistake. Often they will falsely believe they can protect their image and dignity by avoiding errors. Ace athletes also do their best and aim for perfection, but they do not fear mistakes. They readily embrace them and are determined to do better the next time around. Those who fear error will never be able to discover their full potential because they live within their comfort zone or stop striving to be better once they have won. They fear that they may forfeit their athletic achievements if they continually reach higher. Ace athletes are not afraid to lose any title or award. They are not seeking seasonal or momentary trophies, but desire to conquer weaknesses and pass on their strength and knowledge to others. 2. Fear of losing. Another reason that people tend to stay within their comfort zone is related to the fear of losing. An ace player strives to win, not just for themselves, but for their team, sponsor, school, company, or the next generation of players. They are also fearless in defeat. Defeat is a revelation of a previously overlooked weakness that may not have surfaced without the defeat. Although painful, defeat is another chance at a breakthrough for an ace player. Most often, ace players are distinguished by their selfless attitude during a game. They do not desire winning or fear losing. They want to face the battle the best they possibly can. Ace archers, kendo players, wushu performers, and other participants of meditative sports are commonly disciplined to desire nothing but to bravely face the event with their entire being. This selfless attitude eliminates all pressure and is a good buffer against frustration. Ace players not only apply this selflessness in their sport career, but in their everyday lives. They aim for perfection because they want to give their best in any situation they find themselves in. 3. Fear of challenging the status quo. Ace athletes are radical. They spearhead the introduction of revolutionary ideas in whatever aspect they may be involved. Once they become involved, they turn the tables on their sport so it is never the same. Most people willingly accept things the way they are and are prepared to live continuing things the way they have always been. Imagine how the world would look if there were no new challengers that dared to question the existing order. Billiards was once dominated by Western players, until a new crop of Asian participants made their way onto the scene. Basketball was previously considered a man's sport, until women broke into the game and gained widespread admiration and support. Strictly because a team has been reigning champions for years is no guarantee that they will always remain unbeatable. Most newcomers don't dare to challenge the veterans, but ace athletes find thrills in the challenge and are more inspired when up against a strong opponent or undisputed champion. They aim to prove that no one person or race holds a monopoly over the power of the game. There is always someone who will have imagination, perseverance, and guts than the present title holder. This person trains to establish a new style or technique that is better and more effective than the current best. 4. Self-conceit. To emerge into the arena only to prove you are superior to all the other players is one of the worst motivating factors in sports. It is quite common for sports to be a venue ripe with racism and sexism, not to be confused with nationalism, simply the love of one's own country. What nationalism is not is using your sports platform to promote the belief that other countries are inferior to your own and aim to humiliate them. This is an example of extreme nationalism. Racism and sexism have a similar intent, to treat another as inferior and humiliate them. Ace athletes do not compete to prove anything, except that they train harder than others do. They understand the simple fact that others may someday be more skilled than even they are if they give the sport more training and dedication. Sometimes an ace athlete will compete to demonstrate that their style or technique is superior to another, but with the understanding that this does not make them a better person, nation, or gender. How an athlete trains influences whether or not he wins, not his race or gender. An athlete also knows that in life, every individual has an opportunity to win, and it is merely dependent on how hard one tries. He lives his belief that he does not belong to a supreme race or gender. He simply trains harder than others. 5. Good luck. Ace athletes do not believe in luck or accidents. They believe in choosing their own destiny. If you want to win, you must train to win. If you win but lose, you start your training over and repeat again and again until you win. In their own lives, ace athletes believe that nothing happens by chance or accident. Everything is a consequence of choice. You are overweight because you eat too much. Being chubby may be partial due to genes, but ace athletes do not succumb to such explanation. You decide your fate, and if you aim to considerably decrease your weight, you can maintain your ideal physique. You are not skipped over for a promotion or not hired because you're a loser. You simply have to try again and again until you receive what you desire or even change your direction. Success is in timing, not luck. 6. The family gene stalemate. An athlete is successful because his grandfather and father were good at the sport. This idea can both help and hinder your performance. If you rely too heavily on your genes, you might work on your training too lightly and end up losing everything you have worked so hard for. What's worse, you may deflect responsibility and blame your failures on your family. Alternatively, this idea of prime genes may stop your journey before it has even begun because you falsely believe that since your grandfather was unsuccessful in his athletic endeavor, you are also destined to be one. Thus, you believe that no amount of training or dedication will make a positive impact on this area of your life. A true ace athlete will not allow anything to block their path of success, not even a crippling disability or family genes. He understands that his familial history may have an impact on his ability, but he realizes that, in the end, it all comes down to how hard he really trained. He frequently tells himself that the only thing permanent in life is change. 7. Lack of funds. More often than not, people allow money to control them and their decision-making. No matter how important a task may be, they shelve their dream for a financial problem. Training does indeed cost money, not to mention the high cost of fitness equipment, but this ought not to be the deciding factor of whether or not to invest in quality training. Ace athletes refuse to let a lack of money hinder their goals. If they can't improvise their training equipment, they look to sponsors. Additionally, they doggedly save funds, however slowly. Ace athletes always save money of their own as a life principle. You cannot be ace in anything and expect to be dependent on someone else, especially in matters of finances. Moreover, most ace sports teams or individuals find tapping sponsors to be easy because they are grateful and excited to support ace players and promote their businesses. They want to be associated with the winners. An example of this is the pay scale of NBA players. 8. Applause. Many people live to be recognized by others. They do not do anything that society will not approve of. It will serve you to remember that many approved behaviors today were perceived as taboo in the past. Lifting the ball while dribbling in basketball used to be incorrect. The use of barbells was believed to hinder your performance in weightlifting because the extra muscle mass they built would restrict the movement of your other limbs during alternative physical activity. Cross-training in sports was never heard of until kinetic experts discovered the value that being proficient in a wide array of sports could add to one's main focus. A long time ago, science had no place in athletics. Sportsmen in ancient Greco-Roman times did anything they possibly could to train themselves, including lifting and boxing cows, and consumed anything they believed would add to their bulky figure. Every once in a while, a new team of athletes would appear and introduce new and better ways of training and playing that may have even been rejected and mocked by others. There is a record during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar of a group of young Jewish men who beat Babylon's best scholars and athletes through their alternative diet of only vegetables and water as opposed to the king's food and wine. No matter how hard the Babylonian diet officials opposed their food preference, the boys persisted and ultimately proved everyone wrong. Ace athletes do not concern themselves with how the majority view them. They will always try a new way of doing something. There are many other inappropriate motivations that may hinder your ability to transcend from athlete to ace. The proper motivations governing an athlete in training and in life are vital to sustain an ace athlete's designation. Motivations that are practiced every day become automatically applied in any situation you find yourself in. This enables you to face challenges smoothly without needing to stop and assess each situation and the appropriate outcome. Often a minute of delay can spell win or lose in the realm of championship sports. Chapter 5. The Unseen Needs of Athletes. Professional athletes are often very well cared for, especially when preparing for a tournament. This being said, there are quite frequently some important areas of needs that are overlooked or neglected that will impact their ability to perform at their peak. Good coaches and trainers see these needs and carefully monitor them, but they are easily missed by others. The following is a checklist of some potential overlooked needs of the ace athlete. Physical. 1. Breakfast. Athletes, and everyone else, should rely on a great breakfast to begin their day. It is incorrect to believe you can function optimally by skipping breakfast. Some people believe that skipping meals is a fast track to losing weight, but experts have discovered that extreme calorie restriction has little to do with weight loss and may even have the opposite intended effect. It is proven that eating 3 moderate meals a day is the answer to effective weight loss, and that eating carbohydrates and fats, macronutrients, in moderation while focusing more on vegetables, fruits, and nuts, micronutrients, is highly effective. Some nutrition experts believe that dinner could probably be skipped on occasion or limited to a small serving of fruit or salad without ill effect, but breakfast is the most important meal and must be included in a balanced diet. 2. Rest and recreation. All work and no play makes everybody, not just Jack, a dull boy or girl. Rigidity in training is a positive trait, but equally as important is the ability to rest and allow the body to recover from muscle sprains and injuries, while enabling the mind and soul to decompress from life's pressures. In fact, some athletes believe that engaging in art forms helps to ease their mind. Even if you feel you are lacking in artistic talent, you can benefit from just scribbling on a sheet of paper. Treat yourself to a vacation occasionally. Take in a comedy show. Go boating with friends. Better yet, read a good book to sharpen your mental skills. 3. Sense of humor. Hard training is vital and can be enjoyable, but it's different when no one is laughing anymore. It has actually been reported that athletes have died during training, not because of a physical ailment, but due to the intense pressure they are under becoming too much for their hearts to handle. Laughing can ease pressure, put a sense again into winning, and make you feel human once more. Too much training can turn you into a figurative robot that generates nothing more than input and output. It is important and beneficial for a trainer and his trainee to have a laugh together during training now and again. 4. Cross-train. Not only will practicing other sports enable you to perform better in our own sport, a common practice today, but other activities can also be tremendously beneficial. Such examples include mountain climbing or hiking. No matter what sport you partake in, taekwondo, boxing, skiing, football, swimming, polo, or even chess, billiards, and golf, you should try mountain climbing or hiking the countryside occasionally. Taking up a new activity presents new challenges, which will enrich your spirit and imagination while improving your stamina. Tai Chi. Most training programs are teaching your muscles to flex and be rigid. Very few train them to relax and rest. In decades past, Chinese kinetics discovered that agility is perfected only once you have mastered the combination of muscle tension and relaxation. Tai Chi teaches you to masterfully combine the hard and soft, fast and slow, working out and relaxing at the same time. Athletes in any sport will find Tai Chi to be helpful in controlling their breathing, their concentration, the ability to conserve energy, and in acquiring speed. Tai Chi is quickly becoming a popular cross-training tool. Swimming. Any athlete who desires a complete workout of every muscle group without sustaining a muscle injury should take up swimming. Swimming is an excellent cross-training tool for chess, table tennis, and billiards players, as well as race car drivers and horseback riders. It keeps these competitors fit without tiring them out or building too much muscle. Running. Similar to weightlifting and gymnastics, running is one of the most common cross-training techniques for all athletes. There are a number of non-traditional cross-training techniques that are gaining popularity. These include 1. Ballet dancing. This activity helps to firm muscles and make them more flexible. Martial artists will discover this activity to be extremely beneficial to their form, balance, grace, and leg-hand reach. Pole vaulters, high jumpers, divers, gymnasts, and hurdle runners will similarly benefit from this. 2. Hang gliding. This flight high in the sky, which affords its rider a panoramic view, always has the effect of clearing the mind and improving one's perspective. It also aids in delivering breaths of fresh air. Climbing a mountain peak can give a similar feeling, but flying high in the sky tends to give you a strong feeling of conquest. Hang gliders often note that anything seems possible when you're in the sky. 3. Cooking. This tends to be a real eyebrow raiser among athletes. Expertly preparing elaborate dishes, the more foreign they are to you, the better, helps your accuracy, timing, organization, focus, and judgment in the arena of your own kitchen. Athletes who make cooking a part of their routine also report improved logic and good taste, of course. 4. Carpentry and making crafts. These activities can help your mind and hand coordination. It is an exercise in problem solving that uses intelligence and hand skills. Ancient civilizations sometimes had warriors that were also metal or wood artisans. Carpentry teaches teamwork and cooperation and strengthens your will and your patience. 5. Fishing. Either deep sea or by the river, freshwater fishing, fishing affords you a relaxing escape while still keeping your body at work. While you're relaxing on the water, you're also sharpening your senses and judgment and getting in a gentle workout to boot. Physical needs of a trainee are not always addressed in rigid training schedules. Some needs must be met outside of the gym in non-athletic venues. Some needs, on the other hand, are met during rigid training and still need to be followed up on by a father trainer with other avenues of improvement. Mental. 1. Intellectual needs. Many people think that athletes, especially really good ones, are unintelligent. Of course, some athletes may have dropped out of school in order to pursue full-time athletic training, but many athletes manage to finish their schooling and even end up as professionals. Some of these athletes even end up as champions, providing their educational institution with the highest honors. Some athletes will shift their focus in schooling to education and may major in physical education to try to sway the opinion that they lack intelligence. This may not solve their perception of being seen as unintelligent, however, because many people do not associate a physical education professor with being an intellectual, even though many are very smart. Athletes will do better to finish their formal education, and their father trainer should make this a requirement on his checklist for his son trainee. The father trainer should personally see to it that his trainee stay in good academic standing and ensure he has enough time to properly focus on his studies. If the father trainer is himself a college graduate, he will have a better understanding of the demand placed on his trainee. Some people may at first be intimidated by the workload this belief will instill upon the coaches. For him to be responsible for following his players, school stats, and keeping him in good academic standing. If a trainee has found a worthwhile father trainer, he will see that his trainer has the time to personally invest in his ability to further his education. All ace athletes must pursue their intellectual training. If school has become out of reach, he must resort to other means of obtaining information, such as books, courses, tapes, and CDs, and homeschooling through the internet. Intellectual training is very much a part of being a well-rounded athlete. 2. Mental needs. The mind frequently becomes overwhelmed with many needs and concerns, and a jumbled mind is sure to be a hindrance during a competition. Players tend to ignore their mental needs, not knowing that it can have such a great impact on their physical performance. An ace athlete needs to understand how to free his mind from worries, especially during a game. Setting the mind free takes some practice, and the ultimate goal is the ability to have a clear mind on demand, or even better yet, to have a clear mind at all times. A free mind allows the body to perform its art. A free mind desires nothing. It doesn't dwell on winning or losing. A mind that desires something automatically leans the spirit in one direction or another, often becoming stuck there consciously or otherwise. Once the desire to win, or a fear of losing, becomes present, the mind is bothered by options, and a mental shackle keeps the focus too narrow and decisions too mechanical. It is something like a mind that wants to spell the word acknowledge, and when the hand begins to write it, automatically starts an A and follows with a B and a C, and has a difficult time understanding that C must come after A in this instance. This mindset takes too long to finally spell the word correctly. A free mind is able to write anything without even thinking about it. This person thinks, so what if I misspelled a word? That is the purpose of an eraser. With thoughts such as this, the task of writing becomes smooth and free-flowing. It ceases to be a spelling job and becomes instead a composition. Similarly, the competition ceases to be a win or lose situation, but instead presents itself to the athlete as a drama where he gets to write the script and the plot if he so chooses. Bruce Lee, an internationally acclaimed and undefeated ace athlete and actor, once wrote in his book that a state of nothingness can give an athlete the full authority on the whole play or drama that the competition has become, and the ability to write the script and decide the plot. A story writer assigns roles to characters, but does not concern themselves with winning or losing. In this sense, an athlete should learn to let his mind and body flow with the present situation during a game. This freedom from the desire to win or the fear of losing will give his soul approval to compose rather than compete. We will discuss the topic of freeing the mind more in depth in Chapter 6. Spiritual. A player's spiritual needs can be compared to their mental needs, but much deeper. The spirit is where an athlete's courage and stamina, among other things, are developed. The mind and body may be weakened by exhaustion, but if the spirit is strong, it can command both to gather the strength for the final stretch of action in the decisive round. There has been a large influx of Westerners since the 1990s into Eastern mysticism and spirituality, most of which is concerned with a general philosophy of life or a philosophy of sports. Many people, including ace sportsmen, are beginning to see the need to feed their spirits and view Eastern philosophies as the answer. A determined and undying resolve for conquest is the mark of a strong and unwavering spirit. It does not think twice about what it takes to conquer, even if the task demands life itself. The Japanese shocked the world in the Second World War with their kamikaze pilots who plunged to their deaths by aiming their planes straight at enemy targets. They could not bear to live defeated lives and would instead sacrifice themselves for the cause. But of course, war is different than sport, where dying is generally seen as out of the question, but the same selfless, self-denying, and self-sacrificing attitudes of the spirit are vitally important. Although most athletes train hard to win, many of them still lack the zeal or the fire to do whatever it takes to truly conquer the game, his weaknesses, and life itself. This undying resolve to overcome anything is the mark of a genuine ace athlete. His spirit is such that nothing can discourage him or squelch the flame of excellence that burns within his heart. Ace athletes excel because they strive to find meaning in life. They have the drive to conquer their weakness and pain and fulfill their desires. Athletic players just want to win and receive the medal or trophy. Many athletic players have become champions at one time, but did not have passion to move forward with this excellence. Moreover, many athletes are losing simply because they lack the will to really give it all they got. They see how strong the opponent appears, and they buckle in spirit and settle for second place. They give up on the competition or the sport altogether and never go back to the gym to address their weaknesses so that they may return, prepared, to the arena once again. The shame they experience from losing once, twice, even 10 times is stronger than their spirit and their desire to excel and conquer. They lack courage and suffer with a weak spirit. These people are often stage players. They are merely putting on a show but have no inner resolve to find greatness. Conversely, an ace athlete works hard even when there is no competition. Emotional. Strong emotions can oftentimes make or break an athlete. It is beneficial for him to settle any emotional burden he may struggle with before training and competition. On the other hand, emotions that inspire a win are beneficial and even essential. A coach will know how to properly fire up his players' emotions, but what is often overlooked is the encouragement from the athlete's loved ones. While training for a competition, an athlete will usually have a better emotional bearing if his loved ones are physically present to show support, especially during his competitions. Cheering heard from the audience can do wonders to a player's outlook, but is secondary to his foundational inspiration, the admiration and support of his loved ones. Audience applause cannot replace the visible support from friends and family. Another emotional aptitude that an athlete must address is the ability to control his emotions. Negative or positive, emotions often run high during a competition. Both extremes can have adverse effects on an athlete's performance. Too much inspiration from loved ones and a rowdy audience can produce a strong and uncontrollable desire to win in the players and can derail their trainings. Inspiration and positive emotions must be maintained at a manageable level and must not transpire to an uncontrollable obsession. Inspiration should merely inspire, and encouragement should merely encourage. It is when these things become inflated and explode into an obsession that objectivity is lost and judgment becomes impaired. The only thing the player will focus on is to win, and the fear of defeat will settle in and become an improper motivator. Two possibilities can happen at this juncture. 1. If the athlete wins, he embraces the present win so much that he would opt to stop and enjoy his victory and applause, making it a lasting memory. He may not compete again for fear of losing his seat on this pedestal, for he is afraid of losing the admiration of his fans. 2. If the athlete loses, humiliation may drag him into a depression because everything has been hanging on his unsteady emotions. He may not train or compete again because he fears he cannot handle another bout of humiliation. Emotions of any kind, if not tampered to a manageable degree, will eventually result in a player's demise. Social. An athlete must always be in touch with reality. If he stays confined to his regimen of training schedules and gym practices, exposed only to his coach and teammates, he is apt to form a false sense of self and view of his team. He might deceive himself into thinking that he and his team are the best, with no real-life basis for this belief. When competition day comes, he will be delivered the shock of his life when he is faced with a team equally as dedicated to winning as himself. The rigors of training often require an athlete to forego the ability to stop and check in on others in his sport. It is beneficial for him to monitor other players to see their skill level, their training activities, and even to befriend his opponents and their coaches to ease tensions during a game and learn all he can about his competition. These interactions can help an athlete form a realistic view of himself and his teammates. He can then determine where his strengths and weaknesses may lie. Muhammad Ali studied the fights of his competitors in person and in film prior to a match. You can even collect clippings from magazines and newspapers about events and stories pertaining to your sport to broaden your knowledge on the subject. This will keep you open-minded and updated in your field. This chapter should have given you the view that ace sportsmanship does not only depend on rigorous workouts. It is multifaceted and includes all aspects of life. The player has many needs which must be looked after, some of which we have discovered are not specifically athletic in nature, but just as important. Many athletes tend to overlook these needs and end up paying the price. Chapter 6. Secret Ways of Honing Sports Skills. The secret power of your Achilles tendon. Jumping. Dependent sports such as basketball, volleyball, high jump, and diving, and sports that require your toes to have a firm grip of the ground like sprints, tennis, relay, and gymnastics, all depend on training that strengthens the legs and forelegs. These are traditionally held views that are beginning to be challenged by modern kinetics. We are beginning to understand that the Achilles tendon needs strengthening even more so than the legs and forelegs. This ligament is found directly behind your ankle. When you jump, there is a link between your heel and toe and the area of your leg and forelegs. This is the Achilles tendon, connecting your heel and calf muscle. If you desire to jump to high levels or have a firm grip of the ground through your feet, you must strengthen this tendon. Leg and foreleg exercises such as squatting with weights and running will not develop your high jump and your foot grip. They will help you to stand firmly and shape your legs, but will not benefit your abilities in the way that a strong Achilles tendon can. There are a few ways you can strengthen your Achilles tendon. Squatting with a barbell while standing on your toes or on the balls of your feet. Even more helpful, you can perform these squats while standing on a firm edge, like a stair, on your toes, with your heels suspended off the edge of the stair. Be sure to have a spotter for safety. Another option is to stand with your feet apart. Next, jog sideways in place on your toes, placing your entire weight on the sole of the foot in contact with the ground. When you are on the sole of your left foot, tilt your body slightly to the right and raise your right leg behind you. Then swiftly shift to the sole of your right foot, being careful to never let your heel touch the ground while tilting your body in the opposite direction. Your left leg should be raised behind you. Practice this motion until it becomes smooth and attempt to gain speed and increase the distance between where your feet land and the tilt of your body. Keep your arms steady at your sides and your hands in front of your chest, similar to a running position. At first, try this exercise for a minute or two without stopping and to increase the time interval as needed. This is also a beneficial aerobics exercise. Another exercise can be done by rotating your ankles and, while standing, keep your left foot up on your toes or raise your left heel, keeping the ball of your foot on the floor. And from that center, rotate your ankle and heel. This action will enable your heel to move in circles, up and down. As you lower and raise your heel without touching the ground, press the left portion of your body weight against the ball of your left foot. Do the same with your right foot. Finally, simply jogging and sprinting while on your toes is beneficial to strengthening your Achilles tendon. Other sports that will benefit from these exercises are karate, taekwondo, judo, wrestling, boxing, football, soccer, and baseball, softball, especially pitching. Broomstick techniques. Traditionally, you will use a broomstick to perform these exercises, but any stick will do. These exercises will strengthen and develop the arms, back, and shoulders. The fingers will also be strengthened for a strong grip. Stand straight while holding the stick with both hands behind you. Put a distance of 2 feet between your feet and bend your back forward as far as possible, trying to touch your knees with your forehead. Without bending your knees, raise the stick behind you with your hands. Freeze in this position for 1 minute, continually trying to pull your hands farther back. In this exercise, you will stand straight and hold the stick with one hand. Stretch that hand to your side, and with only your fingers moving, move the stick up and down several times. Do the same with the other hand. Any sport that requires special hand and swinging abilities, like dart throwing, ping pong, baseball, softball, boxing, rowing, and basketball, can benefit from these exercises. Pendulum target. Place a rubber ball the size of your fist in a sock and tie it with a string. Tie the string firmly to the ceiling and let it swing freely. Try hitting the ball with a bat or tennis racket, or aim to hit it with kicks or punches. Hit the ball as it swings wildly. This will sharpen your accuracy and will benefit any boxer, martial arts student, or sport that requires players to hit a ball. Air punching. A makiwara is a padded piece of wood designed to be hit with the hands and feet. It is specifically used during martial arts practice. You can also tie a piece of paper on one of its sides near the corner with 2 long strings and attach the paper to the ceiling. As it is suspended, try to tear the paper by hitting the bottom with your punches and kicks. Don't cheat by hitting it on its top side. Light a candle and try to extinguish the flame with the wind produced by the force of your kicks and punches. Don't cheat by touching the wick to put out the light. When you are capable of tearing the paper or extinguishing the flame without touching it, you have developed arm and leg power. These exercises are also applicable to boxing and other sports that require powerful limbs. Focus without focusing. A sharp eye is vital to any sport, unless you are competing in a sport festival specifically for the blind. It is important to see the main object you are following as well as the background simultaneously. In a sport like basketball, football, or hockey, an assault can come from a number of different directions. For this reason, it is important to keep an eye on your opponents near and far, while at the same time knowing the location of your teammates and your distance from your ring or goal line. You only have 2 eyes, and they cannot see in opposite directions at the same time. How can you hope to see everything in front of you while keeping focus on what is going on directly under your nose? There's an ancient secret to keeping your sight glued to nowhere while seeing everything that will benefit an ace athlete. The principle of this training is explained through the writings of Lao Tzu, a legendary philosopher in ancient China, who exclaimed that a finger pointing to the moon would tend to fool you into focusing at the finger and losing the glory of the heavens. The finger is telling you to look at the moon, not to itself. He also surmised that one must be like the still lake that reflects everything in the sky clearly but does not focus on anything specific. He wrote, "The spirit is everywhere, yet clings to nowhere." Training your eyes should be done in this way. Stand erect and relaxed in a quiet place. Try to focus on a single, stationary object, such as a leaf, pebble, or dot on the wall. As you focus on the object, attempt to move your eyesight to the extreme left without physically moving your eyeball. Then move your eyesight to the extreme right, top, and bottom, again keeping your eyeballs still. Try to aim your eyesight in every direction simultaneously while still seeing the center object and never physically moving your eyeballs. Do this numerous times a day, every day. You can practice this skill anywhere you are, even while commuting. At first, you may find it hard to maintain and separate your visions at the same time. With practice, you will be able to reflect everything you see as clear as a lake. In competition, you will have both a photographic mind and a natural but accurate surveillance system monitoring everything in front of you. How can you not be an ace athlete when you have this advantage over others? Free spirit. A free spirit can command both the body and the soul. As we learned previously, in exhausted moments, your mind and body can still perform optimally if your spirit is strong. Defeat will follow once the opposite becomes true, when the spirit is being controlled by what the body and mind feels. How do you strengthen the spirit? How do you feed and nourish it? Western sports tends to be very scientific and systematic. Yet many Western sportsmen report feeling a lack of something. They often find the answer to this problem in Eastern mysticism rather than science. Science cannot present information about something it cannot currently explain. The spirit is where courage and other virtues are deep-seated. A free spirit will be able to release these virtues in times of need. One way of strengthening and freeing the spirit is through the practice of meditation. Eye meditation. Stand in a quiet place, early in the morning, and focus on small details such as a bird in flight, a walking ant, patterns of a leaf, bees at work, blowing grass, or slow breaking of the dawn. Just watch. Calm your mental activity. If you are able, try to clear your mind from thinking about anything. Don't let it wander. Enjoy what is unfolding before you. Do this for 10 to 15 minutes each day. Breathing meditation. With open or half-closed eyes, look far and slowly begin your deep breathing. As you inhale through your nose, imagine that you are breathing in all the pure oxygen in the atmosphere and imagine it to be filling your nose, brain, lungs, and entire body, ending at your feet and turning them into steel. Hold your breath for a moment and release it slowly, imagining that every carbon dioxide molecule in your body is being released. Repeat this cycle 40 times. Eastern monks of the past are said to have had strong spirits due to prolonged meditation practice. One legendary figure, Bodhidharma, was said to have traveled on foot from India to China through the Himalayas using meditation to overcome such a difficult task. He was able to make his spirit strong in order to overcome the weakness of his body. In China, he was said to have become a champion in all the athletic challenges he was presented with. It may just be a legend, but Buddhist monks in Chinese and Japanese monasteries were always well known for their perseverance, courage, and stamina while performing athletic feats that made them invincible in actual battles. Training in water. Submerge yourself into neck or chest-deep water and attempt to kick, jab, and swing your arms rapidly. Try to run in the water to strengthen your limbs. Foothold. Most sports rely on the legs, and it will benefit you to develop real leg power. Even golfers use their legs' ability to twist and stand firm. In general, it is always important to learn how to stand properly. The foothold is a simple leg exercise that will have you standing like a wall of steel if you practice it regularly. Stand erect, keeping your legs apart, about 2.5 inches wide. Bend them slightly at the knees so that you appear to be riding an invisible horse. Make sure your bottom is out, back is straight, and shoulders are relaxed and drooping evenly. Look straight ahead and attempt to meditate. Put your hands on your waist and evenly distribute your body weight to both feet, focusing on the heels. Take care not to place too much weight on the toes. If you find yourself doing this, it means you are leaning forward with bad posture. Practice this stance for 1 minute and then increase as you can tolerate. The restrained blow through the mouth. A heavy workout generally keeps you puffing and gasping for breath. Expanding the lungs will enable you to ease your gasping and extend your endurance by preventing you from running out of breath. To expand your lungs, inhale deeply and blow forcefully through your mouth while inhibiting your exhale by limiting the exit of air. Do this by opening your lips slightly and drawing your lower lip inside your mouth, creating a small gap between your lower and upper lips. Through this gap, blow and exhale as hard as you can, narrowing the opening even further so that your exhale creates a ballooning effect on your cheeks and upper lip. The 9 secrets listed above are terrific techniques by which to hone your athletic abilities. They are simple and require no equipment, and anyone aiming to become an ace in sports can do them. Conclusion. Every trade under the sun has secrets, and in this book, we have revealed several important and effective tactics for excelling in sports. They have been used in secret by both trainers and trainees and have been continually praised for their effectiveness. If religiously followed, the secrets divulged in these chapters will produce extraordinary athletic skills. However, this is not the end. Most importantly, you have learned to adopt a life perspective that will not only enable you to be an athletic champion, but also a life champion. Ace athletes are champions in sports because they are also champions in life. Temporary champions will work out hard for a season and then take a break the rest of their lives to celebrate the victory and the memory of their win. Ace athletes train constantly to always improve upon themselves. They are likened to an ace businessman who will not close shop just because he hits break even after selling for 1 month. He will sell and sell until the last breath of his lift, and he will even pass his knowledge and techniques down to his sons and daughters to carve a niche for his family in the business world. Aside from the regular heavy workouts, strict diet, and health habits that we are all familiar with, ace sportsmanship is not strictly relegated to only training and techniques. It is a lifestyle of doing everything in accordance with your goal of ace sportsmanship. If you decide to begin your journey to athletic mastery after reading this book, stay motivated and never stop to look back. Invest in a worthy trainer and stay with him for life. Have a one-track mind and never stop halfway to rethink what you are doing. Just do it without desiring to win or fearing to lose. When you become an ace athlete, There is nothing to lose.